let's go ahead and get started. How are we looking, full moon? Shout out to full moon. The special council meeting for Tuesday, August 12th, 2025 is called to order at 6:38 p.m. First, we're going to have a moment of silent meditation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, could you have roll call, please?
Roll call. Mayor Nickerson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Martin. Present. Councilperson Erbaum.
Present.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Winters.
Present.
Also present for the record, Christia Liu, Village Manager, Janice Jacoby, Village Clerk, and in lieu of Attorney Geller is Attorney Johnson. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Madam Clerk. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Hearing none. Moving on to the first resolution, this is the storm drain, 205 Northeast 86th Street. Mr. Attorney, could you read that into the record for me?
Resolution E1 regarding storm drain at 205 Northeast 86th Street. A resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, of Miami-Dade County, Florida, approving proposal for replacement of the grate and asphalt at 205 Northeast 86th Street for the Village of El Portal of Miami-Dade County, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Mr. Attorney. Do you have any questions or comments from the council?
I would like to ask a quick question. Reading through this, are there any penalties for the construction company if they take longer than expected for the I think at least 5 months for to complete?
Good evening. This is a replacement and repair of a storm drain that exists, so it should be way less time than that.
All right, take it back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments, council? Hearing, seeing none. Any questions or comments from the audience about the storm drain? Just come up, say your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is George Alvarez, 165 Northwest 88th Street. I had emailed about this. This weekend I was I did a little walking because I'm very lucky and I walk when it rains. But I also kind of drove through. Like the east side, between Northeast 2nd Avenue and 4th Avenue Road, gets deluged. It's real. I live on the west side. It's a little bit easier. So obviously there's some drainage issues on the east side, but why? I'm hoping somebody can answer this question. I know that there's a bid from a Shenandoah company. I can't imagine there's a rep from them. But why did it get so bad in one spot? And if it is a French drain to nowhere because we can't drain into the river, why is a French drain that is theoretically no wider than 1, maybe 2 residential yards cost that much? And secondly, where does it drain? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments from the audience? Come on up, say your name and address for the record. I got you. Take your time,
Take your
sister. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Hello,
Hello.
council and community. My name is Veronica Hunt. I'm a 28, I think, resident of El Portal. The drainage has been an issue the 28 years I've been here. It's supposedly a runoff from Horace Mann. Supposedly when they bit the field, it runs off to the low edges. And I'm in one of the drowning zones. When it rains, it floods. I think the council is aware, and we're still waiting on improvement, 28 years. So that's my comment.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments about the storm drain? Any other questions or comments about the storm drain? Okay. Hearing, seeing none. Back to the council. Madam Manager, or I don't know if Mr. Thampi, to address the questions by Mr. Alvarez.
I can speak a little bit to at least specifically the area around Northeast 2nd to Northeast 4th Place, north of 87th Street, meaning just the next couple blocks up here. So I kind of got the story from my neighbors when I moved in 13 years ago. On our block, for example, in front of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think all except for the last house on our block across the street from my house is a solid line of concrete swale, like asphalt concrete swale. So the entire swale in front of 7 homes doesn't exist except for a concrete patch. I was told that years ago, like, I don't know, 30 years ago.
Sorry.
That's all right. They had anticipated septic sewer happening, and so somebody on that block paid out of pocket to dig up the street and lay, I think, 24-inch pipe underneath the street or something crazy. It might only be 12, but it was big. It was like a big pipe they put underneath the street and then paved over it. And then sewer never came, and all these years later. So I will say that concrete swales and non-permeable swales is typically a significant part of the equation when we run into full street flooding. It's not the full answer, but at least in that corner of the neighborhood, I will say on a couple streets, it seems like there have been efforts in the past to pave over swales that had been essentially, open ground or ground cover, trees, that kind of thing. So at least over there, just north of Village Hall here, that seems to be a significant problem as far as why there's standing water in the street long after it rains.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Urban.
I will answer Mayor Nickerson about this particular drain. This is not a French drain. This is an outfall to the canal, but there's a system that's in place presently. It's been there for a number of years. This drain is consistently clogged because of its location. It's in the swale. This area is the repair of that existing storm drain, and also an enlargement of the grate and the apron to kind of prevent it from clogging so quickly. And so this is what we've had assessed, and our engineer went on site several times and have worked with other contractors and looked at it, and so this is the repair that's needed, just to at least give some relief for that particular drain. We do have a storm water master plan that we are conducting within phases. We're still in phase 1. Due to funding. So we are still awaiting some kind of funding that will help us with phase 1 to finish it, which is an outfall in the El Jardín area. And then the next step, which is phase 2, would be this area. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the council?
I have a question. This is Dr. Ward. I got a question.
Go ahead. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Will it fix the problem, or will it just be a bandage? Because I don't read anything that says the problem's going to stop. I read we're gonna improve on it, but I don't read where it's going to stop. That is a question.
Well, again, it will repair the existing drain. It will allow it to function properly or better, and will eliminate the congestion in that particular drain. But in terms of curing flooding, no, this is not. This is not phase 2 of the stormwater master plan as we're addressing stormwater improvement. We're just fixing a drain.
Thank you.
I have another question. So since this is at the entrance to Sherwood Forest, there's also a park right there. And of course, we've already discussed this park in many meetings, and that parts of the park's water systems don't work and that we can't actually touch them because of, I guess, archaeological reasons. Will this drain also help the spots on the other side of the park where we also have puddling as well?
No, this is not at the park. It's maybe two doors away from the park. This is more, it's closer to Northeast Second Avenue.
It's 100 feet away, maybe? It's,
Maybe
but
a bit
it's still
more.
within the same
But nonetheless,
block.
there's a storm drain that is, that services the park. This one is for that outfall that goes right to the canal.
Correct. It's on the west side of the park, correct?
This is on the northwest side of the street. Of the street, right. Away from the park.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's right in front of a property that's like 3 houses in on the north side from Northeast Second Avenue. Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay. Hearing, seeing none, do it. You have another question? No, you can't. Yeah, no.
Thank you. Will the repair also fix the drainage on the further northwest side? I understand all the beautiful improvements on the east side that are being done, and it looks marvelous. But what about the forgotten side on the northwest side? Is the drainage gonna fix that side? They always start on the east side. The east side looks beautiful. I appreciate it. But come on the northwest side, on the other side of Horace Mann. Is it gonna fix that side? They start, they stop, nothing's done. We flood, we walk in water. I saw some construction, I got real excited, and then it stopped. So is this, like Dr. Ward said, a Band-Aid, an improvement? What is it gonna be? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else, because this is the public comment forum right now, it was closed, but I'm gonna reopen it real quick. So we have to do public comment, and then we have to close public comment to bring it back to the council. So, is there anybody else for public comment? Okay. Just say your name and address for the record.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Joaquin Piñeros, 440 Northwest 90th Street. Where can we see the plans of the repairs or the replacement of the crate that is being done and the cost?
There was a supplemental document, I can print out and give it to you. It was on the agenda, it was a supplemental document with the agenda that when the agenda went out, it was part of the agenda. It was a supplemental document that went out that had information on it, with that information that was on there.
Perfect, thank you.
All right?
Because
I can give it to you.
I'm a civil engineer and a general contractor, so to try to clarify, it says here that is a repair.
Mhm.
So I don't think that this is like a big improvement where you're dealing with a exfiltration trench or a well, or it
Correct.
seems that it's just replacing, it says here, replacement of grate and asphalt.
Correct,
That's all, right?
correct.
Perfect, thank you.
Correct. All right, thank you very much. Is there anyone else for public comment? Okay, so we're gonna close public comment and bring it back to the council for this particular item. All right, so, yeah, so this doesn't affect or doesn't deal with the west side of El Portal. This is a storm drain that's right over here at the end of Sherwood Forest. And this is to repair that particular storm drain. We're gonna regrade it and repair that particular storm drain. So it's not like a dig through the storm drain system. It's just that particular storm drain that we're repairing. Okay. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Martin. Madam Clerk, please have a roll call, please.
Roll call. Councilperson Winters.
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Yes.
Councilperson Urban.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Mr. Attorney, if you can you read the next one into the record, E2?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Resolution E2 regarding Horace Mann Middle School Safety Roundabout Engineering Services. A resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal of Miami-Dade County, Florida, approving a proposal for professional engineering services for the Horace Mann Middle School Safety Roundabout Project at Northwest 2nd Avenue and Northwest 91st Street, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Any questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, let's move to the audience. Any questions or comments from the audience for E2? Name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Noel Pace, live at 206 Northwest 91st Street. We're on the southwest property that's regarding this intersection there, just north of the Horace Mann Middle School. And yes, I do see the resolution. I do know that this was a project that was proposed over 2 years ago. There were some initial discussions with the village manager. There was some initial plans that were proposed. The thing is that it's been lying dormant for about 2 years. Okay, more than 2 years. And, you know, we got notice of this a week ago yesterday that construction was going to be starting today. And if you look at what was sent out by Eunice, good information, the thing is that all I've seen is sort of architect plans. I mean, there's no renderings of what the traffic circle will look like. There's no renderings of how, you know, things will change. It's just basically stick and pencil drawing. I'd like to see a rendering, especially now with the, you know, CAD and other type of systems. I mean, you can now use AI to create exactly how this traffic circle is going to look. It does say with appropriate landscaping, but what's it going to look like? Is it just going to be a circle with a bunch of concrete, or is it going to actually be something aesthetically pleasing, which is really sort of the entrance to El Portal on the west side? We have a nice circle here. There's landscaping here. It's sort of the same way over there. The other thing is that it does affect our property, where we're going to lose some of our hedge. We're going to lose part of a wall that was constructed, you know, and there's a question with the architect there if there were permits. Yes, actually the council approved, remember when I went back in the file, when we bought this house in 2000, I think we moved in 2012, we purchased in 2015, you know, Horace Mann Middle School, and if you're familiar with the area, there are tons of children at the end of the school day for pickup. The school buses go in and out through this intersection. All the kids and their parents come, and everyone parks on the swales there and so on. And so our particular property actually had a wall built around it because the children were trespassing into the area. It's an attractive nuisance. Our neighbors have a swimming pool that's there. And so I just would like to see better renderings. I'd like to see more information. I'd like to see a better plan. And I mean, the fact is, it's just unfortunate that the construction is starting the first week of school. Like, I mean, I don't know if it could have been, I mean, I don't know. I mean, not to hear anything for 2 years. We live there, you know, we see the kids from school every day. I mean, obviously, my wife, the former mayor, has her own private school here. We see the children all the time. We do transportation. Anyway, I just think that this probably, even if it's a resolution, I'd like to see more information. I'd like to make sure that our entrance and egress to our property is properly handled. If we have to, you know, adjust that wall, that there's proper funding, you know, that goes into this project that will adjust it and so on. That's all. Just to, you know, something reasonable, not too much, but good enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pace. Any other questions or comments regarding the circle? How you doing?
I could have gone over there, huh? I wasn't paying attention. I was a little nervous. Hey, I'm Denise, 173 Northwest 88th Street. Since I was 12, So I've been here since I was 12, right? Okay, so Horace Mann has all this traffic. Now, usually you put a roundabout so you can slow the traffic down. We don't want to slow it down, we want it to flow. Why would we put a roundabout in some place that we want traffic to flow? Because that's a lot of kids. We want that to empty out as soon as possible. So to put a traffic circle there, I don't know. Then it was last meeting, my mayor said you should go back and listen to the meeting before so that you heard what I said. So that's what I did, Mr. Mayor. I went back and I listened to the meeting before so I could get what you said. Now, somebody threw up some raised stuff, and then somebody else countered that with, come on, let's give us all 67. If we do what we're supposed to do, like good little kids, we're gonna give them all 67. And I calculated that, and that was $300,000. And then I calculated the roundabout for $500,000. Now, if somebody just got something for $1 million, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're gonna give raises, but we want this roundabout, we don't got a lot left to fix the roads, to do the drainage, and the things that we need to do. If we're a ghetto Miami Shores, could we fix up here in the front, make the hedges look a little better? Since we got all this money to do all these things, like put a roundabout in a place where we don't need a roundabout, but I guess it's gonna be pretty, so that's good. But why don't we make the front of the village hall pretty? Why don't the roads on 86th Street don't go bumpity bump, bump, bump? And I'm not talking about the speed bumps, I'm talking about the bumpity bump, bump, bump. Like, I mean, you know, the other day I had a little Volkswagen, he was $400. You was really working my Volkswagen going down 86. I had to definitely go down 88, could not go down 86. No, that's not good. So we have all these things, all these little things that we have to do. And I know my mayor said he working and he doing it little by little by little by little, but why don't we get the raise after the little by little is done? I just want to know. I'm confused. Now, I know, we done turned down the prices and we done said, hey, but what we in a rush for the raise for? That lady said 28 years she waiting for a drain, 28 years. That's a long time to wait for a drain. You want your raise today? Come on, my boo, let's talk about it. Now, it's a little village, right? They tell me it's 4 by 12. It's a little village, 4 by 12. They said it was $3,000 because we was doing it on a volunteer basis, but we was just giving you a little incentive. Ooh, 50,000 is a whole lot of incentive. I want to be mayor. Anyway, but we not talking about that, y'all. Let's stay on track. The mayor don't like when we off track. Let's stay on track. On track is a roundabout in a place where we don't need a roundabout. We need a, I mean, there's a lot of kids out there. Their parents come to pick them up. We not closing the school. It's not getting smaller. In fact, after these people build up here, it's gonna be bigger. We gonna have a roundabout, slow traffic down? I don't know. And for $500,000, we not gonna have no left of the million, y'all.
All right.
Thank you very much. Anyone else, questions or comments?
So, hi, I'm Edna, 301 Northeast 88th Street. I'm not going to be as colorful, but I really do have the same comments. $500,000 for a roundabout. We've been talking about fixing our roads for as long as I've lived in El Portal. Nothing's happening. Our green spaces are atrocious. Why a roundabout? Why not cops stationed just like at Country Day for safety? I mean, why? And where is that $500,000 coming from? Actually, I mean, are we using up the entire fund that we have from Miami-Dade to fix the roads for this one project that it appears no one wants? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Alexandra Baza, 120 Northwest 86th Street. I am really confused because when I see the agenda that is going to be voted today, but then I see heavy machinery already parked there. I don't understand how the planning is working in this kind of project. You bring the machines, you hire the, part of it, and then you're gonna hire the engineer? I just need some clarification. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council. I'm George Alvarez. I live at 165 Northwest 88th Street. I live down the street from Horseman. It was explained to me by the mayor and the manager, and it's also, part of it's in the original resolution. But of course, it's difficult to kind of put all this stuff together sometimes. That half the funds approximately came from a grant from the state towards school safety, and it was a grant that happened like after the Parkland massacre, when the state legislature had school safety front of mind. And that the remainder half comes from our CITT funds. Those are county funds that we are granted by the county, obviously, to repair potholes, fix roads, safety issues, some other stuff. I think the mayor or the manager can speak about that. But sometimes you smell a rat. And I kind of smell a rat on this one. Easy to smell because it's $552,000 and change. So, like, that's like just in comparison, that's like a quarter of our tax base, up until this year, of course. If safety was an issue, why is there only 2 stop signs there instead of 4? There's 2 stop signs there, going east-west. If safety was an issue, there would also be 2 stop signs going north-south to stop the traffic, because safety was an issue. Children, they're crossing, well, yeah, plenty of them do go to 91st and 2nd. But if a Horace Mann safety roundabout, so titled, were to be about safety, wouldn't Horace Mann be involved? Yes. Wouldn't it be in a spot in Horace Mann where the issue is even worse if there's only going to be one roundabout? Thank you, Florida, we get one roundabout. Is that money, that safety money, was it intended for things like roundabouts, or was it intended for mitigating defensive mechanisms against kids who grab their parents' guns? I don't know what that was for, but I do smell that this happened really fast. I also know that once there's a roundabout, buses are not going to be able to use that street corner. So once there's a roundabout, those days when there's a bad accident southbound on I-95 in the morning, all that traffic is going to leak down. It's going to go south on Northwest 4th Avenue, south on Northwest 3rd Avenue. It's going to spill to 86th Street and go east down the street, which is only 1-lane street, 1 lane each way, that is. Those buses won't be able to come south from 95th, so they're going to use 90th, 89th, 88th. I'll get to 87th, 87th, and possibly 86th. But the problem is, on those crazy, crazy traffic days when there's crazy accident on I-95, people are basically turning some of our streets into one-way streets because they're so frustrated. They just got off the highway. So I requested I did a public information request. I did it yesterday, though, so a little late to the game. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be very quick. Thank you for indulging me, Mr. Mayor. So I'd like to see what the traffic study was, what the safety study was, what is its environmental impact? Are there going to be buses waiting on 90th, 89th, 88th, 87th, 86th, idling in front of the houses who live at the corner of Northwest 2nd Avenue and all of those streets? Because it's already a little bit of an issue. But if the buses have a difficult time getting down 2nd Avenue, this issue is going to compound. Also, regarding the last issue, somebody on the council asked, how long is the grate going to be, how long is it going to take to fix the drain? Well, how long is it going to do the roundabout? Like, I've heard I've heard a month, I've heard 3 months, I've heard 8 months. So I think that this roundabout should be better considered and the public should be involved in this in a way that isn't like, all right, here's the agenda on Thursday night and we're having a meeting on Tuesday. Because as you can see, the word does get around eventually. I am hoping that the resolution that was passed on the 22nd of July by this council, that one of the members who voted for it will reconsider it so that we can bring it back to this council to make sure that we've got a current and specific traffic study that's going to impact avenues, not just 2nd Avenue, but 3rd Avenue and 4th Avenue, Northwest 1st Avenue, and eventually Miami Avenue. And let's really see if what we're really doing is we're running around with a pair of scissors looking for a piece of paper to cut with $552,000 of granted money, which maybe we can grant to other safety mechanisms, or for the CITT money, $252,000 and change, to some potholes.
Thank you very much. Who's next for the roundabout? Anyone else for the roundabout? This is public comment.
Which one of these is this?
Public comment,
Which one?
roundabout.
I can't see it. It must be this one.
Okay, we're going to close public comment for the roundabout. Yes. Oh, okay, come on up.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to talk on this one too.
Hello, Mr. Mayor,
How you doing?
Council. My name's Ian McKenzie, 8950 Northeast 4th Avenue. I just have a question about, maybe I missed something because I was coming here, arrived here a little late. What about speed bumps? People are worried about speeding. That's a traffic calming and it's cheap. It's, concrete or some asphalt poured in a mound. It's not that expensive. Maybe we can use then the money for other stuff too and get more bang for a buck. The next thing I want to propose is the students of the Horace Mann should get, or the teachers or somebody from the council should contact the University of Miami. We have a Walk Safe program, which is a proven program to reduce injuries for children. It teaches them. It's been measured. It's been funded by the state of Florida. It's been funded by the Children's Trust. Over the years, it's been Jillian Hotz, I know because I worked with her in setting it up. It's a fantastic program, and it teaches kids valuable skills and tools that they can take with them for the rest of their lives, and they can use that even when they leave Horace Mann. So, we all, talk with cell phones, we get distracted. All this kind of thing is really important. So I encourage you to explore those options too and look at other alternatives than possibly spending all this money on a traffic circle where we can't even maintain that circle very nicely. And there's ongoing maintenance too to it as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening. My name is Manuel Marcial. I'm in 9011 Northwest First Avenue. So I have emailed a couple of times to Ms. Alou and the mayor about speeding, more so in Northwest First Avenue, because every time there's an accident, it's just a straightaway from 91st all the way down to 87th. And unfortunately, I've been out of a job since November. So I've been walking my dogs a lot, and I walk around the block, and I go through Horace Mann as well, and there's always a police officer there. So I'm just wondering of, just speeding, and similar to the previous gentleman's comment, like why are we not adding stop signs or putting speed bumps in these areas? Because there's a lot of speeding, and our streets are extremely narrow. We have no sidewalks. I can be walking with my 2 dogs, my young kids, and people just fly by. I've almost been hit at least 5 times since November, and they don't care. They're just in a hurry to get to their jobs, and they use our streets as a highway. I don't think the issue is there where the roundabout is going to be. I think there's other places that we need speed mitigation and safety. But that corner, I mean, people slow down. There's a cop there. If we need more police officers, just put another one. But we need to think about other areas where when traffic is involved and they use our streets as back streets and just speedways, that's where I think we should be focusing on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Mayor. Hi. My name is Tamara Hendershot. I live at 105 Northeast 86. I didn't know anything until last meeting about the Horace Mann roundabout. Thanks. So I started to do a little research online, and it turns out the village had started that project 4 years ago, in 2021. They got $300,000 from the state of Florida. That was the initial amount of money. And they petitioned with Miami Shores to go along with it, and Miami Shores has no interest in it. Also, it even states in the record that this was meant to be for safety at Horace Mann, although there's no indication that Horace Mann School ever was interested in a roundabout or any additional safety in that area. So I kind of don't understand how it came to be when it doesn't seem like anyone needed it or wanted it or cared about it. I mean, what is the issue, and why is it so suddenly when it started in 2021 and rambled along for 4 years, it's suddenly being done without us even knowing about it within a week? So there is a rat. I think there's 2 rats. There are more than one. I just don't understand any of it. That makes no sense whatsoever. It should be used. I asked the mayor 2 years ago. We got 2 speed bumps. 2 years ago, I requested. I sent the mayor approximately once a month, once every 3 weeks, a photograph of a dead animal on the streets. Finally, 86th Street got 2 speed bumps, and he promised we were the first. And shortly thereafter, this is a year ago, there were 58 more that were going to be put down in the village. Has anybody seen them? Didn't think so.
Who's next?
Augustine Ramos, 60 Northwest 91st Street. I have, over the past year, I've communicated with the mayor about speeding on 91st. I'm Manny's neighbor, next door neighbor. Sent a lot of videos of people doing so. The suggestion of a speed bump was one that I had made, and the explanation was that 91st is something about the county being managed, and it's a through road, and it's divides Miami Shores and and El Portal, which is true. But I did not know that the county was allocating money for this roundabout, which a roundabout, presumably county dollars are involved. The county opined on the speed mitigation measure on the corner of this 91st Street, and a roundabout's bigger and more costly than some speed bumps. So I'm curious as to why, if the funds can be used for a large roundabout in one spot, why couldn't those funds be used for multiple speed bumps in various spots, or stop signs, or anything cheaper, smaller, quicker than a roundabout on the same street that the county must opine on, and that's the reason why we haven't gotten something else. So just clarification there, please.
Thank you very much.
Hi. So I've been getting messages from people in the audience and so on. All right, so let's just talk about, and this is Noel Pace, 206 Northwest 91st Street. Again, my property is affected by this project. Just so we're straight procedurally, this project hasn't been approved yet by the council. That's what this resolution is being voted on to do. So, but it already started work today. So I think that's what the confusion in the audience is. That being said, I do agree. Like I said, I think that there just needs to be more due diligence put into the project. We need to see renderings of what the area will look like. Obviously, you know, safety is always probably the top concern of local government. And so, hey, this is a safety-oriented project. I can tell you, being a resident there, that Northwest 2nd Avenue, cars go flying down that street at all hours of the day and night. School zone signs, flashing lights, police officers. It a lot of times doesn't matter. So something has to be done to mitigate the traffic. Now, I do know that 2 years ago, there was a meeting where this project was proposed to Miami Shores. I believe another resident said they really weren't interested in it. I mean, in the end, you know, I think we need to start asking the rhetorical question, why do we have so much traffic in El Portal? It's because Miami Shores streets are closed. When are we going to start demanding some compensation from Miami Shores for that if we were doing a combined project with them? I think somebody needs to ask that question up here on the council, right? I mean, our streets age faster. The asphalt needs to be replaced. There's second and third order effects in terms of the amount of money that we're talking about here. So Miami Shores seems to have a pretty good tax base. I think it's time to start looking in their direction. You know, I don't know if it's a trade of, you know, we get access to their recreational facilities. Something needs to be done for El Portal. Now, that being said, I do think that something needs to be done. I'm not sure if a roundabout is the right solution. I think it's up to a traffic engineer to determine that. I would like to see renderings of all this. I just think that this seems to be, again, it was a project from really, I guess, 4 years ago. It was proposed 2 years ago. There were some meetings, and then it was like dead silence for 2 years, and then all of a sudden we're having a meeting on the day after the project already started where they delivered heavy equipment and so on. So let's just take some prudent time to relook this. That's all I recommend. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Okay. My name is Velvet Connolly. I live at 355 Northeast 87th Street. And I've been a resident of El Portal for 5 years, so not like many of you, I haven't lived here that long. But I remember when I first moved here, I used to come to these meetings because I was really excited to live here. It was my first house. And I was the only one here. I was the only person, and it would just be the council. And I was really excited to just be involved and hear what they were doing. But to be honest, I got really frustrated with the meetings because it would just be a lot of talking about problems and not a lot of solutions. And I got discouraged by that. And so I stopped coming. And when I saw this meeting come up, I said, okay, let me see what's going on. And I just want to say that as I've sat here today and when I came at the last meeting afterwards, I wasn't at the meeting, but I saw people outside. And I'm just really impressed with this entire community and the panel that we have, right? There's so much potential. There's so much human capital. You guys are intelligent, resourceful. And even like, you know, the council that we have, they have a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom. And what I just see, and again, I don't have solutions, but I do see that we have a lot of problems as our village. And I just feel like I'd like to make a clarion call for a new approach, that we just start approaching things a little differently through innovation. Just because things normally are expensive and take a long time, it doesn't mean it has to be that way. I feel like we can add innovation. We are a small village. I know in some worlds small is a disadvantage, but I'm an entrepreneur. In my world, small is an advantage. Small is mighty. Small can move with speed. Small means precision, right? So there's things that are possible when something is small that are not possible when something is really big and heavy, right? And so as a small village, we have an opportunity to work together in a way that big villages don't. We have an opportunity to come up with innovative projects in the way that we do things, right? We can add innovation to some of our, you know, whatever, where we're like, hey, what's the best way to solve this problem? We could do a pilot project, right? We could be a marquee village that's doing things that nobody else is doing and testing and seeing, hey, how does that work, right? Where bigger counties can't do that, or bigger areas. And so I'm not saying I don't have the solution, obviously, to the roundabout. It doesn't sound like that's the greatest idea for a growing village. It sounds like that's not having a vision for where we're going, that we are growing, right? But it does sound like the answer is in the room. That's what I hear. I hear the answer is in the room. And I just wonder if we become more collaborative and open ourselves to being innovative in how we approach things, if we could come up with solutions that solve a lot of problems in our village, including this one, with speed, with precision, and with less money. And I wonder if you guys committed to having that mentality and you did it, if everybody here wouldn't be like, give them a raise, right? I just think it could work like that.
Anyone else? Public comment? Roundabout? Public comment roundabout? All right, going once. We're good. Public comment roundabout, we're good? Okay, all right. Bringing it back to the council. Before I go through this, any questions or comments from the council?
Yeah, just want to make a quick comment. So I am going to defend the roundabout for just a moment, okay? So this has been in discussion for several years. The larger discussion surrounding specifically that street is a 24-hour-a-day issue. I will say that on the council, we have not seen renderings of what the roundabout is going to look like. The discussion mostly has been around the need for traffic control, the willingness of the county to allow us to do something, and then additionally, the grant that allowed us basically to get over the finish line in terms of funding, plus coordination with Miami Shores. I will say, after defending the roundabout, because I have sat through all the meetings concerning the roundabout, so I will say this. I knew the moment the proposal came up for the raises for the council that every single agenda item we hope to get done between now and forever was at risk. Personally, until this situation with the raise is resolved, I can already see that on this issue, which, by the way, many residents do want this roundabout. Many residents have gotten up. Excuse me, guys. Listen, I would caution everybody on cheering up or down on anything anybody says, because there are a bunch of individuals in this room. I am one of them. I have said for years, I am a proud independent. I am non-party affiliated in this state so that I can say whatever I want, whenever I want. I answer to no one, okay? We have had residents in here begging for traffic control on Northwest 2nd, on Miami Avenue, on Northeast 2nd, on 87th. Okay? So, this was a viable solution. I do not know where we sit right now because of what happened with the insane proposal of raises to this council, okay? So because of an insane proposal of raises to this council, everything we're doing looks insane right now, okay? So I want you to know that I recognize that almost nobody in this room truly understands the history of this roundabout. I acknowledge that not even the council knows what it's going to look like when it's done, all right? I acknowledge that openly, all right? And so I am worried, disappointed, frustrated, and concerned over it is wonderful to see everybody here. But the young lady is correct. In most meetings, there's 1, 2, 3, and it's usually the same people, okay? So that would be great. That would be great. And if any of you have ever heard me speak before, you know that my goal for this village is that 2 people run for every single seat on this council every single cycle. I'm on my 4th term. I ran opposed my 1st term. I've been unopposed for 3 terms. So my personal goal for this village is that every single seat is contested every single cycle. Now, am I going to get my wish? I don't usually get my wish. All right, I'm a progressive. So I will just say that I already knew when the proposal came across the microphone a couple meetings ago for an insane raise for this council, I knew that every single agenda item we were hoping to get done was at risk. I don't know how I'm going to vote tonight. What I do know is that a whole lot of work and a whole lot of effort and a massive amount of coordination went into getting this roundabout to a reality. At the corner that it's at is a good spot for it. If the buses can get through, I agree. All right? And I will say this, the comment about the 58 speed bumps, that comment has never been uttered at a public meeting. I've never heard it. The discussion of the 2 speed bumps took a while, and that was an effort because we're dealing with the county. We did 3 traffic studies, I believe, to accomplish a lower speed limit with the county and go toe-to-toe with the county over many of our traffic calming needs, which are still in progress. So I just want to give some background on that and say that outside of extenuating circumstances, I would be supporting this project.
I do have a comment. First of all, I want to tell everybody in the room, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate seeing all of your faces. And when you get on this mic and you let us know, well, you let me know, I can only speak for myself, when you let me know how you feel, I really take it into account. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to learn from your lived experience and the way you view the world, because it helps me make a more sound decision when I sit here looking through these documents. I too share Councilman Erbaum's sentiments. I feared that the proposal would put us in the position where everything that we do or propose on this body would be looked at with a tinge of skepticism, looking for the proverbial hook as to what is the benefit to us personally. I feared that, which is why I voted no. Councilman Erbaum voted no as well. And I understand it. I understand why your antennas are up and everything looks like there's a rat somewhere. But I do think a way to combat that is with information. So if you're open to receiving the information, I will give you the information as truthfully as I know it to be. I pride myself on that, and that's what I want to do tonight. And more so than me giving you the information, I say that you should probably get it from someone who's been doing a tremendous amount of work on this. So I want to touch on the funding of this project, and I also want to touch on the need for it. Councilman Erbaum is correct. Before we had this issue with the pay raises, a very large issue that we had was with safety. I live on the northwest side, on the other side of Horace Mann, and I have two small boys, 5 and 6. I've been walking them through these El Portal streets since they were in strollers, and I can attest personally that there have been numerous incidents where my husband and I have seen cars flying by, and we've been like, oh my God, that is so very scary and so dangerous. We've heard that sentiment echoed by a lot of our neighbors, but my experience is anecdotal. Sitting here on this dais, we've had tons of people come in and ask us for solutions. Solutions seem really easy on our level. We're El Portal, why not just throw up these speed bumps? Sometimes it's not so easy, right? Because it's not just, some of those roads aren't only under our control. We need to get to someone in the county. For the roundabout, we needed to get someone in Miami Shores. So sometimes it's more collaborative and it's hard to get some buy-in sometimes when you are a smaller municipality. So there has been a lot of calling out and saying, hey, this is an issue. In addition to that, I chaired the Planning and Zoning Committee for, I think, the past 2 years. I've only recently given it up. But in that Planning and Zoning Committee, we work with Pluserbia, and they are really good at what they do. They are engineers. It is not just our idea of like, where should we put this roundabout? They are trained at doing this. They have degrees. We had a number of meetings that I was present at where residents would sit and talk about what their issues were. Speeding was one. Pluserbia highlighted this as a viable option with the intentions of in the future there being an internal drop-off situation with Horace Mann. So that large parking lot that remains empty, the thought was that instead of parents and buses dropping off students on the perimeter, there would be an internal option that we're working on. So in a perfect world, all of this would happen at the same time and we would just see it done. But in this, it is more of a concurrent movement. The roundabout comes first, internal drop-off situation. There is a master streets plan that you can look at that proposes making a lot of those streets one-way streets as a deterrent to people using those streets as cut-through streets for them whenever it's clogged on 95 or clogged on Biscayne. It is something that we've looked at, something that we've put a lot of thought in, and this is the concurrent movement that we've decided that ultimately we hope provides a permanent traffic solution back there. And also, I think more importantly, the reason why we've moved this forward without the aesthetics is because at the core, we think it's about safety. Something is going to happen. And I personally do not want that on my account. So if I can put a traffic calming measure there and it deters something from happening, I would prefer to do that than to not have done it and then say, oh my gosh, what a tragedy. So this is the thought behind it. The streets master plan is available on our website, I do believe. everyone should take a look at it and also continue to opine on what you think about it. I think it's a great document. We have these unique diverters that we're going to hopefully bring to El Portal in addition to the roundabout. The young lady in the pink, I forgot your name, but your comment was so spot on as to what we can do if we work collaboratively. Some of those elements in that plan are elements that you see in different European cities, and we have brought it here. The directional diverters are one of them. I would love for everybody to look at it. We worked super hard on it, and I think it's a really good document. But I understand why coming from me after what we did, it's kind of hard to swallow, but take a look at the actual document. Take a look at the work. Take a look at what we've done. And this isn't something that was just done overnight. And it is not something that is born out of self-interest. We really think that there is, and we've heard, not just think, we've really heard that there is a speeding issue. I've experienced it personally. We think this is a long-term solution to it. If we take these steps, roundabout first, internal drop-off for students at Horace Mann, in addition to that, eventually making some of those roads one-way and less desirable for persons who would like to use it as a way to get through to Biscayne or to 95. But I do want the manager, because I think she is well-informed on the topic, to talk to us about the funding and how this is getting paid for, if you don't mind sharing.
No, not at all. I don't mind sharing. In 2021, this appropriation was granted to the village after the former mayor, Ms. Cubillos, and I went to Tallahassee and lobbied with our legislators and talked about bringing some safety to the roads of El Portal and also some improvements to the village hall. This request was made year after year. We didn't get it until 2021. When we got the funding, we continued to work on this project. I know 4 years seems like a lot. Believe me, it has been too much time, but we've put a lot of time into that. So it's funded with $300,000 from the state of Florida, from FDOT managing this. I've been in meetings bi-weekly with our engineer, and also with Craig A. Smith, engineering. The grant is a matching grant, and the village has to put up the remaining $300,000. We will be using county funds from our CITT. Also, part of the wait, what has taken so long, is that we had to get permits and go through Miami-Dade County traffic engineering, and they've approved it. So we have all of that. Finally, after waiting for over a year for those things. Back in 2022, we went to Miami Shores Village, Mayor Nickerson and I, and they approved it, and we're very excited about the project because their residents on that side are also complaining about the speeding that goes through. Our former police chief, David Magnuson, also did some details over there to check for speeding, and we made those reports to the state of Florida, just looking for opportunities where we could find anything that could deter. This is what they funded. It won't be speed bumps. It was a speed or a circular. So we are working on that. We hope that it will be a good project for all of the residents. Some people have come to us very happy with that, and it will take 90 days because we're on a time schedule through Florida Department of Transportation that requires it. We have a deadline, so we are going to stay on top of that. And today's item isn't to approve the project because the project was approved back in 2021 by this council in July. But what is being requested today is just the engineering service that exceeds our current engineers or our public works directors' services. That's all.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And just my final point. So we talked about just the realities of where the funds are coming from. The second part was, is this really an issue? Does anyone care about it? At least I expressed why I do think it is an issue and persons care about it. I also expressed to you what I think this is the impetus for. This is the first step in like executing that multi-level plan it's beautiful and it's enumerated on our website. It's not a plan to change everything to one-way streets in the next year or 2 years, but in order for you to know how you want to grow and what you want your village to look like, you do have to have a more aggressive and ambitious plan, and this is our aggressive and ambitious plan as it relates to controlling the traffic in our streets, making it safer, making it more pedestrian friendly, and I think really enhancing the aesthetic as well. And with the enhancement of aesthetics, you're gonna have the improvement of property values, all of those things. I think the plan is a winner, would love your input on it, because also things aren't set in stone, right? As you said in the beginning, there are a lot of you with a lot of different expertise. I'm not an engineer. I'm a lawyer. I know how to understand things, but I also really, really would love for the people that live here and have skin in the game to give me your perspective so that I can understand where you're coming from and can incorporate that experience in there. The third thing that I want to talk about before I end, the other rat that someone said they smell is why wouldn't Horace Mann be involved? Horace Mann is actually, I went to middle school there, so I love Horace Mann, and I had some great experiences there, especially in band. I still know how to play the flute today, but I will say sometimes it's very hard to get the administration on board because they're doing lots of things. I know I've had the experience of coming to Horace Mann and their administration with numerous proposals, and honestly, I think that with the state of everything in education, they don't have the bandwidth sometimes to be as visible or as present as I would like them to be. So it's something that they're aware of for sure. But as far as being in the room, I don't know if we have like a representative that could come and, you know, just so that everyone can see and be certain that it's not something that El Portal is either kind of doing in the cover of night or doing against anyone's will. Miami Shores, Horace Mann, Miami-Dade County, they're all aware of the project. And if you want to be aware of what it is that this might be the impetus for, the linchpin in, you can definitely go on the website and poke around for a little bit as well. And those are my comments.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Mayor. Anybody else from the council?
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot.
Ditto. What my counterpart has just said. Ditto. I agree. I'm not that far. She's not that far. I've watched the need for safety. Those of you that know where this is, raise your hand. Thank you. You've seen it too. It's not pretty. I almost got hit. I'm in my car. They're just spinning right straight through it because they're trying to get the children to school. They're speeding right straight through it. I almost had an accident. Surely, most of us have seen people that don't live here, but their children go to Horace Mann. That frightened me a lot. And I'm not a sissy. I don't get frightened. But when someone is speeding, coming through, going to the Horace Mann, where's it gonna do? The building gonna run away? If I experience that, then that's why I'm voting for this. Because it gets very dangerous in the morning time. I don't know which way you all go, but I'm retired. And when I see what I see early in the morning, especially when it happened to me, oh, I'm voting for this. Because there's no reason, who keeps turning on my, there's no reason at all for El Portal not to have noticed that this becomes a real runaway street. In the morning, not so much in the afternoon, but in the morning. I don't know why this thing keeps going on. All things considered, thank you all for coming, because I needed to hear you all say things also. I don't know why it's doing that. But it's very important. It's extremely important. If you haven't ever seen it, I drive the car. I drive my car. If you have never seen it, you won't know how dare, just because they don't live here, they come through our village like this, trying to get the horseman. I rest my case.
Thank you, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Anybody else from the council?
Yes, sir. This was a beautiful response. I love you all. This was wonderful. You did exactly what we wanted to happen. We wanted the rest of our residents to be involved in the city. My council members next to me said that they feared what would happen when they asked for a pay raise, that people would show up here and question everything they did. But that's what you need to do. Thomas Jefferson said, when the people fear their government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is freedom. Decorum, please. Decorum. Thomas Jefferson said, when the people fear their government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is freedom. The people should not be afraid of their government. Government should be afraid of their people. And what you've done here today, where you came in and you spoke up, is what we want to happen. We want to see the community involved in speaking up every single time we have something going on. This being said, there was a lot that I heard today from the residents that makes a lot of sense. This includes the fact that we're starting this roundabout the first week of school. Now, I understand it's a 5-month project, but it would have made sense to do some of this project during the summer, even though it won't go into the school year. Is there a reason why that we chose this timing?
Yeah, I agree with you. We would have loved to have done this during the summer months, but we didn't have the permits yet through the county. The moment we got the permits, we put the item on the agenda. Or, I'm sorry, I had to do an RFP to select the construction company. That takes at least 30 days. So I did the RFP, and the moment we made the selection, we brought it to council. So unfortunately, believe me, I'm a parent as well. I know how horrible of timing this is, but we're also at the end of our extensions for the project. So we
So if
unfortunately
we
have to
don't
move
do
forward.
it, we lose it.
And also the school is aware, they've been aware throughout the project process, and, you know, I understand their concerns, and we'll have extra police in the area to assist with drop-off and pickup.
Thank you. And another thing that a citizen said here was that about different traffic studies that might have been done. I was reading through one of the traffic studies here by David Plummer, and on Northwest 2nd in front of the school, it showed that out of 1,018 drivers, only 10 of them were speeding. Because this would be according to if anything is above 10 miles, 10% of the speed limit, they don't pull them over. So I understand the residents' understanding and fear for the actual speeding, but is there any other viable documents that show the need for this roundabout?
I don't know, besides the approval from Florida Department of Transportation and the, you know, outcry of the community in the area, but those, we did I don't know if I have that, but I can certainly look for whatever former Chief Magnuson did when he did the detail of clocking that time. Understand sometimes those traffic studies are done, well, depending on the timing. It shows what's happening depending on the days. But the recommendation was still to slow the traffic down, and it was also to reduce the speed limit. We did a holistic approach to reducing speeding in the village. One was the reduction of the speed limit, the installation of the roundabout, which was always a part of this plan, and we also plan to do a road diet on Northeast 2nd Avenue. All of those things are still in the works. It just takes so much time due to permitting and due to getting the approvals of various state and county entities. So that's where we're at. And so these were approved because they also did their studies. And so I will look into seeing if there are some other things that we can produce for you.
Well, when we did our research for the speed bumps a few months back, we found that roundabouts were more effective than speed bumps, but they were more expensive. Will there be other future roundabouts that the citizens should know about?
Not that I'm aware of yet. You know, again, everything is contingent upon funding. We received that funding in 2021. We would have to go again to ask for further assistance from the state. But we're always looking for opportunities, so I don't know. But for now, nothing's on the horizon to further that, except for whatever we can do on our own.
Thank
At
you.
least we have a match on this one where we aren't paying for the entire thing, so.
All right, that'll be all.
Any other questions or comments from the council?
Yeah, I just want to add just a little bit of background too. So 3 different traffic studies were done. The ultimate goal of all 3 of the studies was to provide enough data to the county to get them to allow us to lower speed limits. When the first reports came out, I remember at that meeting, it was interesting because there weren't that many speeders in the data. And my comment at that time was, it's clear that we don't really have a speeding problem in El Portal. We have a speed limit problem in El Portal. So, you know, Councilperson Winters is not wrong in terms of looking at that data and saying, well, there's not that many speeders, but there is still, just because it's more of a speed limit issue. And so now that we have a lower speed limit, I mean, that was it took a very long time through a couple different administrations, through massive effort on the manager's part, to not back down from the county, who was just dismissing us out of hand year after year. And it took quite an effort to get those 3 traffic studies done with the specific goal of lowering the speed limits so that then it kind of unplugged the drain so we could start moving forward, like getting the 2 speed bumps into 86th, other speed bumps as well. And on the speed bump issue, things are moving forward, and I'll just openly tell you guys that I am one of the most aggressive drivers in the county, okay? That's a personal problem that I've been working through my whole life, all right? But I am absolutely one of the single most aggressive drivers in this county, all right? I will blow your doors off. So I've calmed down over the years. I've been in the county 23 years, all right? And I will tell you that speed bumps mostly affect the drivers who are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and affect very little the drivers who are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I can see a speed bump from 2 blocks away and calculate what my harmonic speed is for my car and match it. Park Drive here, 40 miles an hour. It's easier on my vehicle to hit that speed bump at 40 than it is to slow down for it. So, do I slow down for it? I do. Okay, I do. It hurts to slow down for it because I know I'm just tearing up my brakes. I'm going to be dumping gas on the other side, okay? So for me, you guys might see me weaving in and out of traffic, but my speed is constant, okay? I'm an efficiency junkie. So I like my miles per gallon. I calculate my mileage. I've calculated my mileage for 30 years. I fill it up, it clicks, I look at the odometer, I calculate my own fuel economy, okay? So with speed bumps, they are not a miracle answer. I just want to say that. The manager and I have talked about this extensively because there are speed bumps that do work. The ones in Miami Shores seem to be effective. The wide ones, they do seem to be effective. But like the little ones like this, and we can. I've had this conversation with you, so now I've confessed to you my egregious behavior behind the wheel. But what are we going to do about the other 300,000 drivers that think they're the most aggressive driver in Miami-Dade County or trying to take the title from me? Okay, so we've had one conversation with one person, but what are we going to do about the other 300,000? All right, so that's the point of my comments is that you might occasionally come across someone like myself who's open about it, but the truth is that's not going to do anything about the other 300,000 drivers that drive just as badly as I do. Okay, so this has been a discussion for years and years and years over what we can do fighting with the county, and I mean fighting with the county. So that's where we are.
Thank you, Councilperson Urban. Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, hearing none. It was brought up about the renderings, also the traffic study, safety study, environmental impact. We'll try to get those for you guys, Mr. Pace, Mr. Alvarez. I also think that there's probably a meeting, like a Zoom meeting or something that we should have to address the other issues, the wall, the entrance, and those type of things, proper funding. As far as the Miami Shores situation, the streets being closed, you guys are absolutely correct about that. About a year and a half ago, or a couple years ago, I was in discussion with the Miami Shores 3 years ago. I was in discussion with the Miami Shores Council about, not because of the closing of the streets, but just about becoming closer together as the three villages, the tri-village of Miami Shores, Biscayne Park, and El Portal, and looking into us getting rights to be more inclusive with, you know, what they do over there, especially their water park. That night that occurred, you had 2 individuals that supported what I was saying, but you had 3 at that particular time that didn't support what I was saying. All right, when I went to that Miami Shores meeting. Okay. Since then, they then got a new mayor after that who was vehemently against it. The mayor before their most previous mayor, she was for it. That mayor was for it. And one of the other council members at the time, I believe it was the vice mayor, was for it, but the other 3 weren't. The mayor after that was vehemently against it. And so it was shut down. They now have a new mayor that they got recently over there in Miami Shores. And I've spoken to him a couple of times, but we never had an official meeting. And I could open that discussion back up with him. Okay. As far as the traffic circle, traffic flow, this was Ms. Denise. In the last meeting that we had, the meeting that we had, the last council meeting that we had in July 22nd, what I said the last meeting, and what the reason why I said go look at the last meeting was because individuals were saying what's being done for infrastructure projects, what's being done for road repair, what's being done for these things, what's being done for tree trimming. And in the last meeting, what I did say was go back and look at the meeting but previous, and in that meeting, if you went back and looked at that meeting, you have on resolution F6 from the July 22nd meeting, if you saw that meeting, it was $700,000 that was moved into the general fund for street and road repair, road safety and street safety, tree trimming, tree planting, maintenance, and those type of things. That's the reason why I said if you saw that meeting on July 22nd, I said specifically where the funding was and how much of that funding that I moved into the general fund for those specific purposes. Okay? That's why I said go look at the last meeting. Where does the money come from? The roundabout come from? Manager Lou already explained that. Why is it? So there was 2 portions. Manager Lou explained how when we first passed it in 2021, but in July 22nd, there was a construction portion. Tonight is the engineering portion. So that explains that. As far as grant money, so I think a lot of people, because I heard a lot of different comments, and it wasn't just this individual now that I'm to his question, but it was a few after this, and they were kind of saying like, well, you know, why don't we just use this grant money for things like other things other than a traffic circle, things that we may seem that's better than the traffic circle. But you guys, when you're talking about government procurement, whether you're talking about federal money or state money or county money, it's allocated to a specific job. You can't take that money and say, oh, we just decided not to do the roundabout, let's just do stop signs or something like that. So it's allocated for that specific job. Now, if we didn't get the money for that specific job, then we just wouldn't have the money for that specific job. Now, if you don't want not you, but I'm saying if we don't want the job to happen, then we just give the money back. But they're not going to say, well, take that money and do something else with it. All right, so let's understand that. Yeah, so Mr. Marcel, speeding on 91st has been a real big issue. Mr. Ramos also came up later, and you know, he's correct. He spoke to me about it numerous times. We've reached out to Miami Shores, but we haven't done an official meeting about it. We've reached out to them, spoke to them kind of like offline about it, because 91st is shared with Miami Shores. So anything that we do, we have to have them on board for anything that we do on 91st. Now, 91st, unfortunately, can't have speed bumps. It can't have it because 91st, they consider a through street. 91st, 87th Street, Northeast 2nd Avenue, North Miami Avenue. They look at those as through streets, so we can't do it on those streets, whether we got permission or not. There's also, and I don't know where the number of 58 in that came from. I never gave a direct number, but I did say we're doing speed humps village-wide, right? And some people, most of you guys probably got this that I have put out, the speed humps village-wide flyer, okay? That says that we're doing speed humps village-wide, all right? And there's a lot behind that if you want to know the intergovernmental details of the state and how that happened and the county and things like that. Reach out to me and we'll schedule a meeting and I can give you all those intimate details of that. Yeah, so Ms. Conley, I appreciate you. And so, you know, what we try to do here is we try to find solutions for things. I think a lot of times what happens is that, you know, I think some of it is the information that gets out. I think a lot of times the people that put the information out, which this is just life, right? They put it out skewed towards what they want you to feel, and they'll leave out like details of the full picture. You know, like so a lot of you guys who show up and it's like, you know, well, what's going on? Why don't you guys have money for, you know, any other street repair? Or why don't you guys have money going into street safety? Where the same meeting, the exact same meeting, January 22nd, that started the whole thing about the council pay. I mean, the council pay resolution for this July 22nd meeting, the council pay resolution is F5, and F6 is the $700,000 that I moved into the general fund for street repair, street safety, road repair, and those type of things. It's the very next item. But they only focused on F5. They didn't even mention the F6. So I think a lot of times, you know, it's there, and you guys can always reach out to me. You know, I'm accessible. You know, that's my real cell phone number that's on my card that everybody, if you reach out to me, everybody who's reached out to me, they'll tell you, text me, call me, day, night, doesn't matter what time. And I'll tell you exactly what's going on. I'll tell you how we got there. I'll tell you why I'm for it or against it. I'll tell you everything. And let me tell you, there's a lot of individuals, and people who have reached out to me, they'll know this. There's a lot of individuals who are opposed to my position on things. I still help you out. I still help, I give you the information. I help you with all the details, right? Even to come here and argue against me. So I give you everything, just reach out to me, I give you everything, okay? I think the other questions I was going through them, were answered by either the village manager or up here, and I think I answered everybody else's question when it comes to that. Were there any final comments or questions from the council?
I move that we.
You move. I have a motion by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
Could you clarify the motion for me, please?
The motion is just to approve the
Okay.
E2, the roundabout,
Perfect. I'll second.
for the engineering services. Second by Vice Mayor Martin. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call?
Roll call. Councilperson Winters. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Yes.
Councilperson Erbaum.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you very much. Moving on to E3. Okay, so the attorney, before the meeting started, you guys saw me talking to the attorney. We kind of started kind of late or whatever. So this is basically, so I'm gonna give a gist of what happened, and I'm gonna let you kind of go through it. So originally on July 22nd, when I brought up the original council pay situation, during that, when I brought that up for that resolution, during that, Councilperson Winters then, he changed it and adjusted it and took it up to a higher level. Okay. Once that was passed through, it was passed through. Now, last meeting, the last special meeting that we had, this was last week, that was the meeting for the millage rate and to start the budget season, okay? It was one agenda item. At that meeting, at the end of the meeting, there was a motion made to reconsider the vote from the 22nd, all right, that Councilperson Winters had amended and for that, okay? And look, I'm not gonna say I told you so, it's okay. But I'm just saying, for government procedure, you guys, like, and I said at the time, you know, like we have to be careful about, you know, getting caught up in an emotional moment and getting out of government procedure. Because what can happen then is, yes, today you might say, you know, let's not follow the rules and let's just have this come back. But then a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, there might be somebody else that brings up something you're against, and they'll use that as the precedent to then push something through real quick that's not even on the agenda. So our last special meeting that was about the millage rate and about the budget that a lot of you were at, that was the one agenda item. To have a motion to reconsider, you have to at least have the item listed on the agenda. So what we basically did in the last meeting was we said, well, it's not on the agenda, but then at the very end of the meeting, even though it wasn't on the agenda, and it wasn't even added during the approval of the agenda, but then at the end of the meeting, we made a motion to rescind a resolution. And I felt like at that time that was dangerous, and I said that in that meeting. I said, you guys, I just don't feel right about this because of procedure, because what if, you know, 2 years from now, you know, there's a council member or somebody that's crazy, and there's a meeting that happens, and it's not on the agenda, and right before the meeting ends, they say, I want to make a motion to raise taxes, or something like that. And they say, well, 2 years ago, there was something that's not on the agenda, and we did a whole motion. So somebody brought it up to the attorney. The attorney came to me right before the meeting, and then said, look, Mayor, like what happened last meeting, this is how you guys can clean it up real quick. I said, okay. I said, so explain to me. So, Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, one of two options are available. One is to either have one of the 3 yes votes from the last actual noticed meeting move for reconsideration. If that motion is seconded and then voted on successfully, then the items that were on the table from the last council meeting can be reconsidered. Now, the other way is to simply vote on the resolution.
I don't mean to interrupt. But point of order here. That is exactly what happened at the last meeting.
Yeah, but
well, the problem is that
it's not
that
listed on
reconsideration can only happen at the next noticed special meeting or the next regular meeting. So that particular item wasn't properly noticed on the last meeting, so it's a legal nullity at that point.
So tonight we have municipal council pay on the agenda. So now we can do it because it's noticed that municipal pay will be discussed tonight.
Even though this is not the next meeting?
It's a special meeting that was properly noticed with that particular subject matter on the agenda.
Because I believe the way it was done at the last meeting was out of a concern that there was a threat that if it didn't happen at the last meeting, then the opportunity was lost forever.
No, that's not the case.
Very good. Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
All right, so with that being said, I'll make the motion.
Hold on, I interrupted him before he got to option 2.
Well, the option 2 is simply to consider the resolution E3, which is on the agenda today, which adjusts the municipal pay. And of course, during discussion, folks can move to amend or adjust that
It would
accordingly.
behoove us all to just mention right now what the numbers of this agenda item are for everybody's benefit.
I have another interruption when you have a minute.
Yeah, well, let's do this like the clean way. So I want to first do the reconsider that we essentially did last meeting, but now we're doing it in the proper meeting. All right? So first do the reconsider, okay? Do I have a motion to reconsider the resolution that was passed on July 22nd?
What is it?
So the motion that passed on July 22nd, the resolution was the amended resolution from Councilperson Winters that led it to $67,000. Okay?
What
Do it-
is 67,000? Let's do it right. We
I'm-
know what it is because I'm reading the paper. But we got to do it right. What are we
We're-
trying to get to?
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, we're doing it right. I'm looking for a motion to reconsider that particular resolution that was passed for $67,000 on July 22nd. Do I have a motion to reconsider that resolution, to take it away, to reconsider it?
Mr. Mayor, if you can give me a moment, I'm trying to locate the actual resolution just in case the council would like it read verbatim.
I can find it for you, I got you.
Thank you.
I also, first of all, Mr. Attorney, thank you so much for a clear and concise response on something and a seemingly very good handle on the procedure. We don't usually have that, so it's super refreshing to have it. I have a fundamental question, though. In our charter, it says verbatim, Section 206 says, councilpersons shall receive annual compensation in an amount prescribed by ordinance. So can we do this by resolution?
So you can pass this resolution, however, you're correct, pursuant to section 2.06, the compensation has to be prescribed by ordinance. The way that typically happens is the resolution will include another order to allow either the city manager or the city attorney to do whatever is necessary to effectuate that, which in this case would be to draft an ordinance ultimately for the council's approval.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, so let me get to that real quick, Madam Vice Mayor, and then I'll ask for the motion again to reconsider the motion that was passed.
One more point of order. So the motion made by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward at the last meeting to rescind the item from the previous meeting is null and void, is that what we're saying?
Correct.
So one of the three, either the mayor, Councilperson Winters, or Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, one of those three would need to make the same motion again tonight to essentially accomplish the same vote.
Yeah, they can, well, to put.
Not necessarily the same outcome, but the same vote.
They would have to move to reconsider that particular item to then discuss and ultimately vote on that item again.
Thank you.
Let's do the motion first. Do I have a motion to reconsider?
I
What are
motion
we
to reconsider.
reconsidering again? Let's speak here. Let's be real clear. What are we reconsidering? Which one of these?
We're reconsidering the resolution that was passed on July 22nd that Councilperson Winters did the amendment for the $67,000. We're reconsidering that resolution. Do I have a motion to reconsider?
I make a motion to reconsider.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Winters. Do I have a second? Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Anyone can second?
No, let me get.
No.
Do I have a second from Councilperson Lightfoot Ward?
Second.
Thank you very much. I have a motion. I have a second. Motion to reconsider. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson Winters.
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Yes.
Councilperson Erbaum.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Definitely.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, thank you very much. Now, as far as the resolution ordinance situation,
I move to table this item to next year's budget schedule so that we have a year to debate this and have input from the CFO.
Second.
we have a motion, we have a second.
Is this allowed to be done by sunshine law?
Yes, we
Attorney?
can table the item. Yeah, we can table the item.
Okay.
There was a comment that was being had. As far as the resolution ordinance situation, the process for council pay has to be done per ordinance. And ordinance takes 2 readings. The reason why, from the very beginning, we're still in a resolution phase is because a resolution phase is not required. I was using an extra process, a resolution process, to introduce this to the residents, to hear the comments, to hear how they felt about it. I was using a resolution process that I added that's not required. so that I wouldn't even start, or we wouldn't even start the process yet. So before we even get to the process, which is an ordinance process, I purposely did a resolution process that was not required. All right? So just understand that, you know, and it wasn't any fault of anyone out there, but I understand the narrative was the mayor's trying to like rush this through. No, because if that was the case, I would have started off with the first reading of the ordinance on July 22nd. But I started out with the resolution, I added a process. Now, the reason why I put it on July 22nd, the reason why I was trying to get it done was because, and there's a motion, there's a second that we're gonna get to, was because September is when we do our budget. Our budget workshop is September 2nd. Come here Tuesday, September 2nd, we go through the budget line by line. I wanted to have an accurate count, so I wanted to see kind of where we would be as far as this would be. If we're at 3,000, that's fine, but I wanted to at least go through the process to see what the residents thought, see how everybody felt about it. So before I even started the official process through an ordinance, I started with the extra process I added called the resolution process. Okay? All right. That being said, we do have a motion, we do have a second for tabling this. Do you want to table this to a date certain? Do you want to table it, Councilperson Urban, to the budget workshop? Do you want to table it to, which is September 2nd?
I want to table it to the budget workshop, fiscal year 2026.
Fiscal year 2026. We have a table.
Forgive me. No. Sorry, don't clap. I told you guys, I warned you guys not to clap for things a year, okay? I want to table this to fiscal year 2027 discussion. Forgive me.
So fiscal year 2026, 2027.
27, next year, next summer.
So 2026, so the way the budget works, so it would be fiscal year 2026, 2027 is what it would be.
Right, but when the county boils it down to 1 year, we're talking 27.
Okay, all right. So there's a motion, there's a second. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, you still have the second, correct?
Yes.
Okay. There's a motion, there's a second to table this to the budget year, fiscal year 2026, 2027.
That's right.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Roll call. Councilperson Winters.
No.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Yes.
Councilperson Urban.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
Next, we have a quick summary, Mr. Topperfield, of our audit. For the first time, you guys, in a very long time, our audit was on time today. All right, on time this year. This is the first time since I've been mayor. When I took over as mayor, we were behind on audits, but we're current now for the first time. All right, they're gonna come give you guys a summary of that.
No, not really. It's just the CFO and the auditor going to give us a report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, residents. My name is Harry Taubenfeld. I'm the CFO of the Village of El Portal. Here to introduce Elias Rodriguez. He is the lead auditor for the firm Caballero Yearman. Sorry about that. He's here to just give us a status update of the finance of the village from the previous audit. Hi, Elias.
Good evening, my name is Elias. Let me fix this. I'm a little tall. Good evening, my name is Elias Rodriguez. I'm the senior manager of CFLG LLP, for short. I'm here to present the basic financial statements for the September 30th, 2024 audit. I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet and as entertaining as possible. I speak accountant, so it could be a little bit boring. but I'll keep it entertaining. So I just want to go over a brief overview of certain sections of the report. To start off, I'm going to go to the independent auditor's report. Now, the independent auditor's report can be found on page 1 of the financial statements of the document. And I'm just going to read the opinion. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the village. That is an unmodified opinion, and that is the only opinion that anyone would want to be associated with in an audit. Next section that this is in my humble opinion, I highly recommend you read this section. It's management's discussion and analysis. The reason why I recommend this is because it's less technical than the rest of the document. It's written in less accountants, a little bit more management. It presents everything in management's perspective of what happened during the year, compares performance to the current year, to the previous year, in addition to some budgetary information, and you're going to see capital assets in addition to long-term debt, and a brief description of management's outlook of the village. So if you're not going to read anything else in this document, I highly recommend you look at the management discussion and analysis. The next section would be the audited financial statements, the basic financial statements, which will be on page 12. And you're going to see the government-wide financial statements, which is in full accrual basis. It's pretty much an overall view of the village, and you'll see that on the first 2 pages. Following that would be your fund level financial statements, which present individually the trial balances by fund. So that's where you'll find your general fund, your special revenue funds in more detail. The next section, everybody's favorite, is the notes to the basic financial statements. This is a little bit more technical. It's a more detailed information and required disclosures as required by GASB to the financial statements. That's going to start on page 18. Following that section would be on page 40, which would be the required supplementary information. It's additional disclosure. Something I would like to highlight in this section, it has some tables that you would, if you want to look at the pension plans and all that, they will have tables in there. However, if you want to look at a budget to actual comparison of your financial statements, you'll find it in this section. That'll be of your general fund. The final section would be start on page 50, which is your compliance section. Now this is pretty much the auditor section where we add required reports that are required by the state of Florida in addition to GASB. I want to point out that yes, there were 2 matters that were reported. However, as the mayor just mentioned, something I would like to point out is that in the previous year the village had 5 findings and they were able to reduce it to 2 this year. In addition to that, I was actually the auditor for the village in the previous years, and they've always had a late financial reporting finding, but this is the first year where I'm seeing on the report that that was removed, so that was remediated. So that's great news. This concludes the financial statements portion. I would like to present the communications letter. The communications letter is required communications to those charged with governance. In this case, it's the mayor and the council. And it's pretty much the report card of management's performance during the audit. And we're pleased to announce that there were no significant difficulties dealing with management. It was pretty much smooth as in previous years. They're very, very responsive. And I see that the trend is continuing, so that's great. So, yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay, I
you
wanna thank
very
management
much.
for everything you do.
Appreciate that. If you guys want any more detail or have any questions, just reach out to me. If you want, just kind of to dive in deeper, just reach out to me, and I got you.
I just have one quick question, if I could, for the auditor. Just one quick question. Sure. The remaining item, Is that a through item from all, like, is it remaining from all there was 4 audits back or 3? We were behind 4 or 3?
From what I can
3.
remember,
We were
from what I
behind
can remember
3.
is 4, yeah.
We were behind 3, and then the 4th one is now on time, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the findings that were there, the first one, I imagine there were a lot of findings. And then now, 13, okay, now we're down to how many on this timely one?
I don't think I was that abusive, but.
Yeah, we're down to 2 findings, right?
Yes.
Okay, out of those 2 findings, are they both through lines from all the previous audits, or are they new items?
The 2 items that I noticed were repeat findings.
Okay.
But they're not from the original 13 from what I can remember.
What are they?
For
the benefit of the audience who hasn't had the knowledge of reading the report directly.
And while the auditor gathers himself, I know we're losing folks,
do have good
slowly.
welfare.
So before we do, I do want to employ everyone that's in the room today because, you care about the village as much as we do. I do want you guys to stay engaged. Even this stuff, take the mayor up on his offer or us. Call us and let's go through the budget. Call us and let's go through your ideas. So the thing about it is sitting up on this dais is it's a tough job, right? And I don't think anybody up here is doing it with any sort of ill intent or any sort of grand plans to like scheme you out of something. We're all doing it out of a love for the village. But it is a difficult job, right? As you can see, we're all different people. We have different ideas of how things are going to go. The more support we have, the better. Even better for those who want to run and take the seat in the future. This is a village where you can do that, and I think we should do that. The reason why the salary is the way it is, I think it contemplates not one person bearing that burden for 5, 6 terms, right? I would love for there to be a robust set of individuals that are willing to really educate themselves about the village and turn some of their great ideas into reality. I would support that wholeheartedly, and I encourage you to not just leave the conversation after this, but to stay really engaged. This is a very small village, and we all matter, and we all can make a difference. And it shouldn't just be on those of us on the dais to kind of keep track of all this stuff, because we can do it together. Honestly, if you have a question, you can reach out to us. We can go through the budget. We can talk to the CFO, talk to the manager. So let's keep it like it is tonight, which was a beautiful group discussion and a group effort, and I would love for it to continue to be that. So with that being said, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, so the only findings I'm seeing are for bank reconciliations and deficit fund balance. Deficit fund balance.
Okay, meaning we don't have reserve funds.
It's a deficit. I would have to.
Because of so we're carrying $100,000 in debt still from a previously significant loan, but we've got it down to 100,000. Is that speaking to the fact that we still carry a little bit of debt?
It'll be best to discuss with management.
Okay,
They'll have more detail on it.
Okay, fair enough.
To answer your question, the deficit is related really from Hurricane Irma. Unfortunately, I don't predates me, so I don't know all the history, but I know there was some challenges with recouping some funding. So with we were able to recoup a major portion of the expense for Hurricane Irma.
So we're in good shape. We just still
We're
have some work.
definitely
We still have some
we're
work to
definitely
do.
in good shape. We're definitely better today than where we were last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. This year is even brighter than last year, and FY26 is even looking brighter than current 25.
Okay.
And that'll all be seen shortly at the budget.
All
workshop.
right. Yes, no, thank you, and rest up for September. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, you guys. Any questions or comments from the audience? No? We're good. If you have, just come up, say your name and address for the record.
Diana from 4489th Street. Thank you everybody for the discussion. My comment was, I'm not in close vicinity to the circle, and I know we discussed about this run around for a while, but it seems like it's a go. So my question or comment rather is that can we please make sure that the buses go through and the concerns that people brought up during this time are addressed before everything is going through? Because it seems like some of the concerns that the public had were also shared by the council. So it's not like stopping the project, but like, can we double check and make sure before we go ahead?
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments from the council? From the audience?
Yeah. Are we on the agenda item or are we on good and welfare?
We're on good and welfare.
On good and welfare,
Yeah,
okay.
so you can talk about anything at all, it's even the agenda item, so we're good.
Hi, Alexandra Baza, 120 Northwest 86th Street. I would like to follow your idea, which I believe that there's like a big sentiment of there's more people that want to participate and have their opinions heard. So I don't know how do we go about having residents, including in all the committees, the public safety, code enforcement, finance, public affairs, public works. So there's an input from the residents before the decisions are made. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, the next person's coming up. I do just want to remind everybody that Ron DeSantis used eminent domain to build a torture prison in your backyard, okay? So as soon as you're on the wrong side of the list of things, they're going to take your property from you. You need to start interrogating the white people in your life and finding out which side of this thing they're on. 33% of the white people in this country are openly racist. You need to figure out who they are in your life, okay? And there's another 20% that are dismissive and passive about it, all right? There's a white supremacist in Washington, D.C. There's a white supremacist in Tallahassee. I grew up with white supremacists. I was a white supremacist for a year as a teenager, and one of our wiser friends led us out of that mess, and I thank him all the time for that, okay? The year before that, I was into gangster rap, so go figure that one out, all right? So I want you guys to understand that eminent domain was used to build a torture prison in your backyard.
You want to go first?
I just have a quickie.
Go ahead.
So Edna Edelman, 301 Northeast 88th Street. I just wanted to ask if it's possible to have a Zoom for these meetings, because a lot of people aren't able to come. I'm actually doing a live stream for them. Is that a possibility?
I'm going to answer all the questions. I got it written down. I'll come back to it.
That's it for me.
Okay, so hey, I'm back, y'all. Let's go over some things we discussed, right? So he said that I watched.
Say your name,
I'm
address
sorry,
for
I'm
a second.
Denise White, 173 Northwest 88th Street, since I was 12 years old. Right. So, I just want to say, I'm confused, am I? Yes. So he said, watch the meeting, right? And then he said, as soon as this proposal is dropped, this will be approved. And then there was a proposal for a raise. Now, I know we tempered that for 2027. I promise you I'm going to be here for 2027, too, because I want to thank y'all. Now, somebody made it and said, no, it's because of raise why we all came out. No, we all started coming out because of developers, right? That's why we all started coming out. And then I went back to sleep, and then somebody said, hey, look. Now they're doing crazy stuff again, right? So this is not the first time they're doing crazy stuff. They stay doing crazy stuff. But it's okay, because we're here, right? And we're going to hope that we all stay here and stay involved, because that's the one thing about this whole craziness that's fabulous, is that they got us all up out our house and to this meeting. That's the best part about it. So we're going to make democracy do what democracy do. Now, democracy, as far as I understand, is for the people, right? And I saw a big crowd of people say, I don't want no roundabout, but we got a roundabout anyway. But don't worry, y'all. Don't worry, because election year coming around again. You feel me? That's number one. Number two, they keep saying that we're not listening. I watched the meeting again. Mind you, that was a very boring meeting, but I watched the meeting again. You know, I listened, and I still felt, where my girl Tamara at, that there was a rat in the barn. You feel me? I still feel like there's some rats in the barn. And I understand that you want to tell us that, hey, we be working hard. We be working hard, but you shouldn't have to, like my girl said, you shouldn't have to tell us you working hard. We're supposed to see you working hard. And I'm in love with you, Mr. Mayor, but unlike all my council members, they say we, you say I. And if you doing it for us, it's coming from here. we're not supposed to pay you for it. It's supposed to pay you for it. If you're doing good works, it shall be returned to you tenfold, my boo, all of that. So the I, and come see me, come see me. If I watch a meeting and I see that something smell funny, it just smell funny, boo. That's just the way it is. It smell funny. And because now you got us all fired up, especially me, I be up on this podium just talking, don't I, y'all? Right, yeah, no, fired up so that I'm a part of democracy now. So I'm gonna thank all of y'all. Thank you very much. Because when you guys go crazy, my neighbors, they come get me, and then I show up in this yellow outfit looking all cute and stuff, going, yeah, no, we here, and I think we concerned enough to watch what's going on. I think we're gonna be here more often, and it's not gonna be one no more, baby. It should be about 5 or 10. And then when the stuff gets real crazy, oh, we gonna call, hello? We gonna call for everybody, because that's the way democracy, and we supposed to check you. And you say that people not so, we supposed to check you. We are the people. Y'all should be voting what we want, not just explaining to us how we don't understand. We understood, and we didn't want it, but we got it anyway. That's okay. Election day come.
Anyone else? Public comment?
That's a tough act to follow there. And hey, I share your sentiments, ma'am. You know, a boss told me one time that you can do lots of good for a long time, but like one aw shit moment can ruin years and years and years of work. And I mean, you know, one of the issues here is that, you know, it came to this point where you guys had to do something so extreme that there's now issues of credibility here, okay? And I hear all kinds of comments and all kinds of things. We just heard from the auditor. I mean, I'm gonna have to, you know, look into this and correct something, okay? From what I heard, when my wife was the mayor, when I was the first guy of El Portal for years, is that money was embezzled from Hurricane Irma, that money was stolen from the Hurricane Irma. Well, from what I understand is that FEMA reimbursed us all the money from Hurricane Irma. So all of that was bullshit, okay? So that's one. The second piece is that the former administration brought money into the village, okay? They brought money into the village from the Cavista project. They brought money into the village from the state for the seawall and other things. And so, you know, I honestly, I mean, the level of BS around here has risen to a high point. And yes, maybe substantively now we've passed, you know, this. I mean, I feel bad. Like, hey, Councilperson Irma, I disagree with you. You do answer to people. You answer to the taxpayers. Okay? So, and if you haven't figured that out, like that's why everyone's here. Okay? And so, to me, I think it's very important that we need to work the management side of this thing. The substance side of this thing needs to be worked, okay, a little bit better. I mean, no offense, but the roundabout project may have taken years and meetings and all kinds of things with the county and so on, but no one knew anything that was going on for over 2+ years. There wasn't one report, there wasn't one mention of the council, there wasn't one email, there wasn't one meeting or update or so on. And so that's the issue. And now we raised all kinds of issues. You guys have said that you're going to address them, okay, even though we then approve this or whatever without addressing them, we're just going to address them now. I just think that, hey, like, we got to sort of take a, you know, to relook how we're doing things. I mean, communication is very important. And so, you know, I think you've heard from a lot of the people here that communication is key. You know, no one debated with the council that safety is probably our most important function here, and there's nothing more important than public safety, especially for the safety of the kids near the school. The thing is how do you go about addressing it? And to me, it wasn't sufficiently addressed. It's great that you had all these meetings with the county. You didn't have them with the people here. And maybe a couple years ago, there were some discussions about it. But the fact is, we're talking about a major sort of showpiece of the village that no one's seen a picture of. And today, when I can ask AI to generate a picture of, hey, how could El Portal's, you know, front walk that, hey, I agree with you. You know what's funny is that my business has gotten cited for grass in the cracks of the pavers and for bare spots on the swale, but this village hall here has it, and it's not been addressed. I'm getting fined, but the village hall doesn't. All right, and so some things have to tighten up around here. And yes, elections do have consequences. Yes, I think, Anders, you're going to get what you asked for in terms of contested elections. I mean, in the end, like, you know, and hey, let's face it, mayor here does a great job and works his ass off, okay? But he's just one person, all right? The thing is it takes 3 votes to approve anything here. And from what I've heard, some of the commentary tonight is so outlandish that, you know, again, we all need to look at this as a village, and we all need to look at this as a community. And I mean, going back to what I said about Miami Shores, hey, they're great people until, you know, they're pushing all their traffic through our town, and we're the ones basically suffering and paying for it. And like, nothing's been done. I appreciate Omar bringing that up a couple years ago, but we had a meeting with Miami Shores on the traffic circle 2+ years ago, but nothing is done, okay? And I hope it does. And hey, most, if not, you know, all of us are friends here, but I mean, hey, this is business, and it's about the money, and oh, by the way, it's about the rights of the voters here and the community. And so I just hope that we can get some things fixed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, hold on. So, we were not fully recompensed, okay?
Hold on. Councilperson.
I got to listen.
Councilperson Urban.
Mr. Mayor.
You have to let them speak, and then we'll answer. All
Okay.
right? Just remember your answer.
No. This is good and welfare. So people are just speaking. There's not back to the council on this.
But let them speak. All right, we're doing the public comment portion of good work. Let them speak first, okay?
Michael Roman, 334 Northeast 86th Street. For the record, I've been a public servant for about 20 years. I've been with the City of Miami for 10 years in the Department of Human Services. I oversee one of our biggest civic engagement plans, and the one thing I'll let all of you know is civic engagement is a two-way street. As much as you want us to give you a call and reach out to you, how are you all reaching out to us? I oversee a city of 480,000 constituents. We don't have 2,000 here. If each one of you took 500 people, I would expect you all to say, I gauge the pulse of my residents, and I can tell you that over 250 of the constituents I serve want the roundabout or don't want the roundabout, and I'm not hearing those factual numbers. Therefore, when you do say people want the roundabout, why aren't you encouraging them to come into this room knowing that there's going to be advocates against it and saying, we need your voice for it so the constituents can see that people want this? So I would like a little bit more effort from you engaging me, because I can tell you I don't know any of you. And part of that's my fault because I haven't reached out to you, but part of it's your fault for not reaching out to me. The one thing I also want to mention is my department oversees a workforce development, and we often have to do audits of industry standards and industry salaries. I looked at the salaries of elected officials of the 34 municipalities across Miami-Dade County. The salaries you're all requesting are for municipalities that have at least 100,000 constituents. If you did an external audit, I would assume your auditor would have noticed that the market standard for a municipality at 2,000, the elected officials are not making that much. So why is El Portal the outlier? I have a great vision. I love El Portal. I'm so, I put you guys on a pedestal, but I'm sorry, we're not servicing over 100,000 residents. You're servicing 1,800. Civic engagement should be easy. You should be looking at what the other municipalities are paying their elected officials, not only meet that, but then be slightly competitive. I'm more than happy. You'll be getting emails from all of me, and all of you will be getting emails from me, because I'm more than happy to help you all on how you can engage your residents so that when you come up here to vote, you know that you're voting for the voice of the people. If you cannot sit here and tell me that a majority, over 51% of your constituents want this, in a municipality of 1,800, come on, I do it for 480,000 constituents.
Thank you.
Alexandra Baza, 120 Northwest 86th Street. I don't know if I missed the answer to my question, but I still didn't hear if you can repeat that for me, I'm sorry. Why are not engineering plans after 2 years or 4 years of, this process being, that is one question. That kind of makes me wonder how all the rest of the processes are being handled, because you cannot bring machinery if you don't have engineering in place. That is one thing. The other thing that I wanted to request is you are very happy of having more people engaged here, and I'm one of the people that are trying to have more people, being more, committed to being here. But we have to be mindful of the resources, and one of those resources is time. People sit here until crazy hours, and sometimes we have to listen to nonsense for half an hour, 45 minutes, and I think it's disrespectful for everybody's time. Thank you.
Sorry, Veronica Hunnigan, 435 Northwest 87th Street. I have a concern. My vehicles have been burglarized 2 times in 4 months. The first time I tried to call the police department, and this is how it went. I called the village hall, no answer. Had a message to call 311. 311 want to know why I called. Mind you, they're in my yard burglarizing my car. Called 311, they said, hold on, let me call El Portel. Called me back, they didn't get an answer. Called 311 again. Oh, we got someone, they're gonna call you. They're in my yard. El Portel police called me, what's the problem? Someone's breaking in my car. Okay, I'll be there in a minute, I'm on another call. I said, do you understand they're in my yard? Okay, we're coming. I called 311 back. About 10 minutes later, they didn't come yet? No, not yet. Okay, we'll call them again. I said, they're gone now. Okay, but we're gonna call them, they still gonna come out. Nobody came. This was in April. I called 311 again. We're going on 20 minutes now. I said, you know what? I'll take care of it myself. Don't worry about it. 4 policemen showed up. 4, 2 from here and 1 from here and the rest from Miami Shores. My question is, of course they say, we're short staffed. It's only 1 policeman at night. How many policemen do we need in a day in El Portel? How many crimes occur during the day? The other night, someone tried to break in my car again. It's not on record. You think I called the police? I took care of it myself. To me, it's like the police department is not being managed properly. And I see there's job openings. I know they're short. Hear it all the time. My second concern, you ever try to get a permit here? When you call somebody and you tell them, oh, I live in El Portel, well, I could do it without a permit. No, you got to get a permit, because if they see it, they're going to find you and me. Oh, I don't like working with El Portel. It's going to take about 3 weeks to get a permit. That's the other complaint. My third one, these things. We're a no solicitation village. We can't write these people or fine them to bring revenue in, that if they keep putting these things on our doors, we're gonna fine them. Is that a possibility for them to stop? Between Joe's Lawn Service, FHA, Miami Shores, papers they throw in my driveway, which I've written them to stop doing because I don't pick up trash, they still keep sending them to me. There has to be a way. I just looked it up. We're a no solicitation village, but we get solicitation every single day. That has to be a way where we could write them to stop or fine them if they continuously do it. That'll bring in some revenue. And lastly, Fred, that's what I call this pothole on 86th Street that comes up every time we have a heavy rain. And I believe someone on the council mentioned that we just put a Band-Aid on it. There's a problem in that area in front of that house close to Miami Avenue that every time it rains, it's a pothole that comes there, and eventually somebody's gonna get hurt, and it's gonna cost us a lot of money because they're gonna sue the village. And my suggestion, as the young lady said who's been here for 5 years, and I don't hope nobody throws rocks at me. In the other businesses that I've worked with, people in management were paid on bonuses. I don't have an issue, me personally speaking. If the council can show they pleased the community, they've done this, hold an election and say, does the village approve of giving the council a $20,000 bonus, a $30,000 bonus, and let us vote on it. That can be done yearly and divided amongst the council based on how we feel you've attended to our needs. That can be an option for revenue. I'm giving a solution. That's my advice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
My name is George Alvarez. I live at 165 Northwest 88th Street. And I've got some prepared remarks from Joe's Lawnscaping Services here. I want to thank the council and the mayor for doing the right thing tonight. I think credit where credit is due. I encourage you all to embrace the opportunities at public involvement with regards to compensation in the future. Nobody in this room can say whether or not you guys deserve a small raise. I can't. We'll never find a consensus. The mayor was kind enough to indulge one of my ideas. He didn't comment on it, which was doubly kind. Thank you. But just because we're putting this off until a year from now doesn't mean we can't examine it so that we may be mentally prepared, not just for that one resolution and ordinance that may come a year from now, but so that we may be mentally prepared for when a proposal or a bit of information does not pass the smell test. And I'm very serious about this. We get an announcement for an agenda on a Thursday night, sometimes on a Friday. We basically have Monday to research it because we don't have Saturday or Sunday to, call professionals, ask for third opinions. Hey, that dude I know at work who's an accountant and can tell me about this. So I'm also going to encourage transparency, which can be done in very practical and simple ways, such as planning an agenda outright. We know things happen, emergencies pop up, roofs get really rainy, and thank you guys for that with Mrs. Campbell's roof. I know it was no small task to go through the kind of gymnastics that need to be gone through, but it shows you guys have a big heart, or big hearts. I think that there's a danger when we start getting the political side and the administrative side mixed up. Kwame Kilpatrick knows that. So we're El Portal, 2,000 people about, 5 blocks by 8 blocks about. We only have limited space, we only have limited resources, we only have limited tax base. While we should certainly look to enhance our tax base in some ways, at what cost are we going to do it? So when we start hearing proposals, when we start hearing developers ask for variances and mixed-use buildings of 8 stories here and there, we have to be educated about what that is going to mean for our community. And when I say community, I mean when we have an acceleration in demographics and population, we're going to get more traffic. We're going to get impact on our ways of life. We are going to have to think about things differently. So you don't like the way a one-way street sounds? I don't personally. But if we're going to be adding 5,000 residents, 10,000 residents, can you smell it? It's happening. But if we're going to be adding those many residents where there is a lovely advantage, I hope, in tax base, let's make sure that that tax base is worth our handling whatever burdens have to be handled. Lots of cars. We don't have sewers. We keep on hearing about sewers for a very, very long time. So when I hear that our CITT funds are being spent on a roundabout that nobody seems to really want, I cannot help but think that that $300,000 from the state of Florida DOT, we didn't need to take it. If we knew that we had $252,000 in CITT funds that could be spent doing French drains, doing paint marks on roads, doing stop signs at a place that's supposedly unsafe, but there's only 2 stop signs there. Like, I don't think we take $300,000 from the state just to take $300,000 from the state, when that 252 that we then have to spend are so precious. And as far as the salaries upcoming, referring to what I said before, it's dangerous to mix the political with the administrative. We have a city manager, we have a city manager style of government. Our council, I believe, and you can have a different opinion, happy to talk to you guys about it, should reflect the concerns and the will of the people at the time. They are chosen to vote because we can't all vote. It would be too crazy, you know? But that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be public input. So when I hear sophistry, when I hear stories about how, oh, we want you guys to be involved, but yet since, I don't know, several years now, the former committee makeup, which used to be able to contain residents who are not on the council, is now all council. Only a few of those committees have met, like in almost a year. P&Z has to meet because there's business to happen. I'll wrap it up.
Summarize it, appreciate it.
But I'll be asking for notes later. Guys, I'll try to hasten it up. When I hear stuff that we are being invited to be involved, I see that as a little cracked door that we're going to have to exercise our democratic muscles to open up a little bit more. And I'm hoping that the council and the mayor and the staff will rethink and be a little bit more willing to have true public input. Because when we have a crowd like this that has a reaction about something, it ought to be listened to. I'm sorry for taking up so much time. Thank you for indulging me. Thank you. I appreciate your hard work. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Alvarez. Who's next? Public comment? Last public comment of, come on. Just say your name, address for the record.
Hello, I'm David Wells, 189 Northwest 89th Street. I have 2 things. Shoot, what was the first thing? Oh, yes. I am an educator by trade, and my job is to help people connect with things that maybe they don't know or want to know. It is my job to reach out to them, my hand. And I feel the same way. I'm new to this. I'm new to the city, maybe 4 years. But like in these positions, it would be nice to have that civic engagement. If I was in one of these positions, and I never have been, so I don't know the ins and outs, and please chastise me if you feel like it, but it is your job to reach your hand out to me and say, please get involved. I would like to do these things for you guys. I would like to do these things. So like that's something to me. Like if I was an educator and I just went to this room and didn't do anything and expected the kids to come to me or the teachers to come to me and say, hey, I really want to learn this. Teach me how to do that. I would be failing at my job. Second thing, I sent a couple things to the police department here, and I did like an Instagram post about it, and I think I might have even texted the mayor about it, but I get up pretty early in the morning to take a bike ride in the morning, and every time I do, I mean, I am there's very few people at 5 o'clock in the morning driving down North Miami, but every single one of them is going 120 miles an hour. Every single one of them. I sat there one morning and I videoed for 5 minutes. You could barely see the cars going by. And I said, hey, revenue stream. Put a cop here. Every morning from 5 to 8 a.m., you will make $10,000 a day off tickets because everybody drives down that street so blindly fast. So like, why not look into those sort of, revenue streams? And I don't know the ins and outs again of what that means. How much of, ticket money do we get? Do we give it to, Miami-Dade? Do we, I'm not sure, but I know that there is like absolute insanity there every single morning. I'm dodging cars every time I cross that street. It's like, why not? I don't know. I think it might be a good idea. So that's
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Good and welfare, public comment? Just repeat your name and address again, please.
Hi, Velvet Connolly, 355 Northeast 87th Street, El Portal. So what I heard tonight was, it sounded to me like there was an issue with communication as far as information, right? What I heard was, with the roundabout project, the city managers started getting the grant funding back in 2021. In 2021, there was a different council, right? Most of the people that were on that council are not here today, right? And then there was some large time frame with getting the permits from the county, which also out of this council's control, right? And so at the same token, so that's not their fault, but then that information didn't appear to be disseminated to the community in a way that they understood where we were in each stage of the process. And it sounded like that created a lot of confusion that led to distrust and frustration that bubbled up till tonight. Now, I don't know if I know that's probably a super simplification of what happened, but it sounds like to me that's the undercurrent of what created the climate that we're in now. And so I just wonder if we could learn a lesson from that and see how we can get better processes to get regular information, not only about projects and where we are in the stages of getting certain things done, and also when people in the community bring concerns, where we are in the process of those concerns being addressed. But it also sounds like we need more transparency and up-to-date communication about positive things that are coming from the council and coming from the city manager, things that are getting done that just appear to be in the dark, right? Where you guys are like, well, we're doing the work, and we're like, well, we don't know anything about that, right? So I think there needs to be a process to just get information out, the good information of what's happening when the mayor is making these meetings and he's like, hey, I was at the meeting with the Miami Shores mayor, and get that out in real time, right? Let people know what's happening. And then the same thing, when people have concerns, let us know where you are in the process of addressing that concern. Even if there's not progress, let us know that it's the county, it's the state, it's not you guys, right? So I think that's what I heard, sounds like, streamlining. But I'd also like to propose some way to generate revenue. It sounds like there's a lot of projects that need to be done. I get it, you guys are a municipality, so you're looking for municipal funds, but El Portal seems to have a unique advantage of being a nature preserve, being a bird sanctuary. It seems like there's so many marketable aspects to our community that we should be able to bring in sponsorship funds, we should be able to bring in pilot project funds, we should be able to bring in revenue from other places than just a tax base. And so it seems like there would be an opportunity for that, and that might open up projects being completed more quickly. And if we move more quickly, we can keep the council accountable, because it's hard to hold people accountable now when they weren't even the council that was on when this stuff got approved. That creates an issue, right? So it's like we need things to be streamlined, we need things to go faster, we need more money to come in, and it just seems like if we do that, then you guys also probably could get a raise, because I do think that if people are doing work they should be paid for it, but I think that results should speak for themselves. So that's my opinion.
Thank you very much.
Manuel Marcial, 9011 Northwest First Avenue. So I definitely want to echo the sentiment of transparency. I didn't have a question of where we can find the audit, because I did go into the financial department and I can only see the budget. So that's something that I would be very interested to see, and I'm sure other residents as well. And regarding the roundabout, it looks like we're moving forward. You know, happy to hear that there's been studies, but very concerned with, not even knowing how it'll look and, if buses will be able to go through. Being a director of e-commerce, managing millions of dollars in budget of, $4 billion revenue e-commerce website in the past, even those things that are digital are very slow to change. This is going to be extremely difficult to change, and it's going to be a permanent fixture. So I would echo what some of the residents said. Just let's make sure that it does what it's supposed to do, and it helps with the problem at hand, and not create another problem where buses will have to be rerouted somewhere else. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Public comment, good and welfare? All right. Hearing, seeing none, we'll close public comment, come back to the council. I know Councilperson Urban wanted to say something, and then we'll go to Manager Lou, and then and I'll answer your questions that were asked.
All right, I just have 2 or 3 things to say. The first is, it's odd to me that Mr. Pace took personal issue with me personally, because I'm the only no vote on the item he didn't want. So that's red flag right there. We did not recompense.
No, Mr. Pace.
We did not recompense all $2 million. Guys, our output from FEMA was $2.2 million. $2.2 million was our output from FEMA. The village acquired a loan of $1.25 million. Okay, $1.25 million. The village asked the bank for $1.5 million. The bank would not give it to, I'll say them, I wasn't on the council at the time, shortly after. The bank did not give the village $1.5 that the village was asking for. The bank said, no, you can have $1.25. $1.25 million was the debt that we took on with first one bank, and then it got switched to another. And that debt that was taken out from the bank is what Mr. Pace is referring to in terms of recompense. And that we're still $100,000 short on that. $890,000 in cash reserves that existed in August of 2017. That's the issue. That's the issue. I made no mention of what happened to that cash. I've never said anything publicly to anybody about what happened to that cash, other than the fact that I know we don't have cash reserves any longer. $890,000 was not recompensed, plus another $100,000 that we're still carrying an outright debt. This village is in debt to the tune of $100,000 right now. Has anybody heard of Hurricane Aaron? Cross your fingers, cross your eyes, cross your toes, call your friends in the Carolinas and say, I think we're going to be okay down here. If you need a spot, come hang out. Because the Carolinas are about to get punched in the face hard. $890,000 cash reserves. That is what we're missing, plus the $100,000 in debt we still have. So that's that.
All right, so let me just say real quick. You guys. Mr. Pace, we know that good and welfare is not debate.
Understood.
Okay.
The thing is that I just want to talk about the fact that in terms of communication, I'm not against the roundabout. See, that's what I mean. It's like you guys are not listening. What we're saying is now we're talking about what, it's how. That young lady who just spoke, she just talked about how we do things versus necessarily what we're doing. In my particular case, I have issue with how this is being done. We just approved an over $500,000 project for a village that you say is in debt, and we don't know what it looks like. Okay? That's all, right? In addition, I appreciate you voting no, Mr. Urban, but that's not, we weren't saying no to the project. We're saying is how it's done. At least follow through some due diligence and at least show the people how our money is being spent. Okay, so we can at least see it. I had made specific mention that I saw some architect, some engineer drawings from 4+ years ago, I think. Right? And then we don't even know when that traffic study was from or whatever, but that's it. And so that's what all we're asking for is for you guys to listen and to communicate. That's all. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the council have anything to say? All right, hearing none. Okay, so,
Mayor, you did say it, I could say.
Oh, yes,
could
sir,
address
sorry about that.
something,
Go ahead,
please.
Madam Mayor.
I do want to say that I provide a monthly report. I've been doing that since I've started working here. Every monthly report I've issued gave a status of where we were in this project. What I will say is I'm a one-person operation, so it is difficult for me to get the word out about my accomplishments. So when we do have our council meetings, at the end, I'm given the time slot to just give some highlights. But I always ask people to please look at the manager's report because we do so much more than that. And it gives you a highlight of every project that has continued throughout these several years I've been here. It's on the village website under Village Manager Reports, and it dates back to September 2017. So I'm always available to speak. It's just getting out and telling and talking, that's difficult for a one-person show that's doing other projects as well. I understand the transparency need. I would love to have more, but if you could just work with me, do know that those reports are there, and anytime there's a question, you can contact me. And, you know, unfortunately, with this roundabout situation, I never knew when these permits were going to be approved, so we never even knew if we would ever get there. It took us so long to get there, and then when we were finally given the okay, we had to move quickly. So I understand the frustration about the communication, but do know that what transparency I am able to give, I give a monthly update on every single project that we do here in the village. Thank you.
I do have a comment, just quickly. There were two gentlemen that stated that they worked in a civic engagement. I think that's a really great opportunity if you want to volunteer or share your insights. I would love to get information on that. I do think that a lot of the elected officials that you see that are very visible and really getting that information out, they have teams behind them. They have people who work in a civic engagement department who they are able to get information to quickly and are able to gauge the pulse of the community and know how to effectively communicate. Some people are whizzes at TikTok, Instagram, they're everywhere. We know who those elected officials are. I do not have a team. I'm not sure if anyone else up here has a team, and we definitely don't have a civic engagement department, but we want to engage. We do. So I think that that's the biggest hurdle to jump over. It is a two-way conversation, and I think both sides are violently agreeing that we want to connect more. So if you have the strategies to share with us as far as how to do that, I don't think that anyone on this dais would say no. Don't share it with me. And if you wanted to volunteer your time, which is very valuable, and your expertise, I definitely wouldn't say no to that, because we are up here spinning our wheels, but we are also, well, I can only speak for myself, but I'm also a person. I'm an attorney, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. I have 2 kids that play basketball. I'm always in someone's gym, and I'm trying to do all of the things, and I'm trying to do it with integrity, and I care about my name. So when we're in a room together, I never, with you guys, impute any sort of negative intentions onto you, and never kind of associate your name with things that I think might be untoward. I think that that's, that's not a very accurate representation of what we're up here doing. So any strategies that you can share as to how we can communicate some of the awesome things we're doing or get more information from our residents would be great. I know you said the 1 to 500. 500 is a lot with the way that I do it, which is the people that I know, that I see every day, that I walk around and meet with my kids. I ask them what they think. They know that they can come to me and talk about what they think. The people that come to this room when we send out those flyers saying, hey, we're going to be talking about this at Planning and Zoning, we engage with them, and I engage with them robustly to figure out what they think. So I definitely don't just come up here and represent only myself, but it's never a bad thing to reach out to more people and more easily quantify that engagement. So if you have those strategies, please feel free to share that with us. I'm sure that we would all appreciate it, because I can only speak for myself, but I think that's true for everybody. We are just up here really trying to do good work. And we understand that the nature of the beast is this. If we said no to that roundabout today, I don't know, because I'm not a prophet, but I would think that the next meeting, we would have a very large room full of the people that we spoke with and polled in previous meetings saying, no, that was the wrong decision. Because although, I mean, for sure, we care, and your voice is very strong in this room, all 2,000 of us, we're not in this room kind of, actively polling what folks feel and think. If my friend who's in civic engagement is able to share with me some tools where we can do that on a larger scale, I would love to do that. Though the voice in this room is rather loud, I've been charged with thinking about all of the conversations that we've had in total across the years that we've been considering this particular issue. So yes, I'm open to engaging in the conversation. I'm coming with good intentions. I would appreciate it if you would give me that benefit of the doubt, especially when talking about things like smelling a rat and other things like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Mayor. Anyone else from the council?
Yeah, just one super last quick comment. In high school, I was 17, in Topeka, Kansas, we had a state representative come to talk to our debate class because we were in debate. So the state representative came to talk to us. And one of the examples he gave of how it's a hard thing to do to be a representative was the fact that gambling expansion was coming up for a vote. And so he was explaining to the class that some of his constituents were for it and some were against, right? And he wasn't sure which of his constituents to kind of go with. I asked him a question. I said, why don't you just vote your conscience and accept the consequences at the election? So I guarantee you, I'm already sitting here. I don't answer to anybody. Neither does anybody else up here. Neither does the mayor. Your state representatives, your state senators, your U.S. representatives, your U.S. senators, they have their seats. They don't answer to you. They don't answer to anybody. They have the seat already. They have the seat already. So I'm telling you, I don't answer to anybody. Most of them will tell you they actually do. Who do they answer to? Who do they answer to? Hands up. Who do they answer to? Who hands them a check? That's who they answer to. I stand by my word of telling you, flat out, I answer to no one.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Rowe. Anyone else from the council? Any other questions or comments from the council? All right. Seeing none. Ms. Edelman, we'll look into the Zoom. I don't know if Ms. Edelman's still here or not. We'll look into that. We were strictly on Zoom. That's saying, well, this would be a hybrid situation. I know we just have to look at that and look at it with going into the budget season. Back during COVID, of course, we were all on Zoom, and then Governor DeSantis, he stopped strictly Zoom or whatever for municipalities, and there used to be like a funding aspect to it also, during COVID. So Governor DeSantis stopped that, and then when all that ended and he did the whole open Florida again, we went back to in-person meetings. Some very large municipalities like City of Miami, Aventura, they do the hybrid model, which is in-person and then live streaming or whatever. They'll bring in their own monitor, or they'll hook up to a monitor for live streaming. It's been very expensive, which is why only the large the largest municipalities do it. Like even municipalities like Doral they don't do it. You know, only a few of those do it because of that reason. So we'll have to look into that and kind of see how that will work out for Ms. Edelman. Ms. Baza, for the committees, this is the thing. So for the committees, to get individuals, and I'm going to go to something else in a second, but to get residents on the official committees, we would first have to pass it through the council, and then in the 2026 election, we would have to take a vote on it. And then we would have to implement it after that if it passed. The reason why is because in our charter, it doesn't state that. In our charter, what it states in section 4.01, and this is E and F, there shall be the following committees established by the council, appointed by the mayor to meet recommendations to the council for consideration in the designated areas: Public Safety Committee, Public Works Committee, Public Affairs Committee, Administration and Finance Committee, Planning and Zoning Committee, and Code Enforcement Committee. That's E. F says, the mayor shall appoint a council person to be the chair and other members of the council as members of each committee. We got to change that. The only way we can change that is to first vote here. Then it has to go to a referendum to where it goes out to the residents to be voted on during an election, and then it would be implemented. So that's why we can't do it now. All right, that's why we can't add, look at our ancestors, blame our ancestors who set up the charter for El Portal back in the days. That's why we can't do that now. That's another reason why, while I'm on the subject, for those who are saying send the council pay to the residents, let the residents decide, it says the same thing for council pay. The council pay, it doesn't go to the residents, and that's in the charter. So we can change that to where that can also go to the residents, but first we have to pass it up here. Then it will have to go out to a residence on the next either midterm or presidential election. The next one's a midterm, is 2026. And then it would have to be voted on, and then it could be implemented like that, okay? But currently in the charter, for those two things, they don't go out to referendum, meaning that they don't go out to be voted on by the residents or the voters, all right? And, like I said, that's the way we would have to do it. And, I'm not necessarily against it, but I would say, though, that, for those who think like, well, here in El Portal, the residents should vote on, what we get paid, which is fine. But just understand that us not doing it, don't think that's us not doing it that way with that procedure. That's not us doing something nefarious. Nowhere, and we could do it here, and we'll be, the first ones, but nowhere in the nation does the voters pick what the people get paid. It's never been on your ballot in your lifetime where you walk into and take a vote and it says the president should be paid. That's never on your ballot. Or a senator should be paid. Or a congressman should be paid. Or a state senator. That's never on your ballot. It's just never done like that. So we can be the first in history, but just understand us not doing it that way doesn't mean that we're hiding something, or it's never done like that. You never vote on, there's never a vote like that where you walk into a ballot and you walk into a voting booth and you vote on what elected official gets paid. You've never seen that. So the next thing, Mr. Alvarez, I think part of yours was the committee with the residents. I answered that. And the council pay with the referendum, I answered that. Mr. Marcel, yeah, so the transparency, we'll definitely get that out. The reason why the budget hasn't come out yet is because we're finalizing the numbers, and that'll go out like a week before the workshop. So, get the most accurate numbers. So when we come into the workshop for September 2nd, Tuesday, that's when we'll go through the budget line by line, and we're getting the budget ready for that, okay? So that will be that. The audit we'll put up on the website. Ms. Connolly, I agree with you when it comes to communication. Oh, speaking of communication and speaking of committees, Ms. Baza and Mr. Alvarez, also in the July 22nd meeting, which was, the $700,000 for the street repair and stuff like that, and the municipal pay was first introduced. Right above municipal pay, which is F5, F3, and F4, I established the architectural, landscape, and environmental Mayoral Advisory Board and the Coastal Mayors Mayoral Advisory Board. And so these two things you guys are going to be getting in my next flyer package. This is for the Coastal Mayors Mayoral Advisory Board. This is for the Architectural, Landscape, and Environmental Mayoral Advisory Board. It explains to them what it is. Residents can join them, and these are mayoral advisory boards, especially for you guys, Mr. Alvarez, who are worried about development and residential development. The Architectural, Landscape, and Environmental Mayoral Advisory Board, that right there deals with residential architecture. That right there deals with residential architecture, okay? Deals with site plans and things like that. And so when these come to you, just make sure that you look at them and read them, so you'll see what boards, and you can join both of them if you want to, and just reach out to me, and the information's there. That's the way that, even though they're advisory boards, because legally I can't have them binded to the council, because in the charter, you know, residents can't be on an official committee.
They used to be able to, right?
No, and I was going to get to that. No.
These don't have any teeth, though, Mr. Mayor. They're, you know, pleasant groups.
Yeah, it is.
That's the way you can get residents on these advisory boards. I've been on the council for 16 years. I've been mayor for 5 years. I was vice mayor for 8 years, and then I was a council person before that. In the 16 years, there's never been residents on the committees in my 16 years. So I don't know how far back that went, all right? And so we, like I said, we can change it, but I told you guys the process of getting that done, okay? Ms. Veronica, sorry about the burglarized vehicle. You kept saying 311, but I don't know if you meant 311. I know 311 is like the information you can call that to like report. They called, okay. But I would always say, even if you don't think, and that was an emergency, absolutely. But even if you don't think, and I always tell residents this, always call 911 no matter what. Let them tell you it's not an emergency, okay? For anything, always call 911. Always, always, always. Let them tell you it's not an emergency. And as far as the police, like I said, I'm sorry that happened to you. I apologize for that. I don't know what happened there, but I know that, you know, thankfully, you know, since we revamped the police department, I usually get nothing but positive views from the police, that, you know, they're around more often and things like that. And I even get a lot of complaints from them stopping speeders. I get complaints from residents like, man, they're stopping too many of us. So, but we'll look into that. And the pothole, I'm not sure you mentioned the pothole. This is one on 86th Street. So we repaired that. If that's the one you're talking about, that had all the water and stuff, that's repaired. So, yeah, so we fixed that. And Mr. Alvarez knows the backstory to that, and how that had to be done. That was ticket money. I spoke about how I get a lot of residents complaining about cops stopping residents too much and all that. So that was a ticket money situation. Understand, most of that money goes to Miami-Dade County, and understand also the money that we are able to keep, it can only be used within the police department. All right? It can't be used. Ticket money can only be used within the police department. Okay? And so, yeah. For police things, yeah. But understand, Miami-Dade County keeps the majority. Just like your taxes, you guys. Your taxes, Miami-Dade County keeps the majority of your taxes, all right? So that's how that goes. Any last questions or comments from the council?
Thank you for everyone that stuck around to the end.
Hold on one second, Councilperson Winters. You spoke about communication and a new approach. Okay. Yeah, all right, so, I mean, we can talk about that offline. I do a lot when it comes to funding, and I can give you the history of that and the grants and things like that. You're not wrong. As a matter of fact, from that July 22nd meeting, that $700,000 is not taxpayer dollars. That $700,000, that's why I had to move it to the general fund. That $700,000 for street repair and road repair and stuff like that, that's not taxpayer dollars. So we'll talk about that more offline. Councilperson Winters?
That was it. Thanking everyone.
Okay. I got you. Thank you very, very much. Mr. Alvarez, spit it out. I saw you spit it out real quick. Spit it out real quick, and I'm going to Councilperson Winters. What's your last thing? Hurry up. Just spit it out, my brother.
No. It's more of an offline thing, but I appreciate that resolution on the 22nd regarding committees and citizen involvement. But back in the old days, it was in our charter that the council, that committees like A and Z, all
Yeah.
committees
So,
used to be able to have minimum of one council person.
yeah.
With residents, and then it changed.
I don't know when it changed. Like I said, I've been here 16 years, so I'm not sure when it happened.
Now, it might have been all council just because nobody else would do it.
No, but it says it specifically states in the charter, so it's been in there like that in the charter. Very quickly, Mr. Pace, please.
Yeah, I think what some people were talking about here is, at the county level, they have community boards, right?
Mhm.
Where council people or the actual councilmen of the county or women appoint residents to different boards based on their background and so on, and they provide non-binding advisement and advocacy for whatever. So there's the Hispanic Affairs Board. I'm on the county military affairs board appointed by Keon Hardeman. So I mean, there are those kind
Yeah.
of avenues which do help with communication. Again, no one is faulting, of course, we understand, tight budgets, tight time and so on. But here, there was a project that was approved, I guess, years ago, but no one heard anything about it for 2 years until a piece of paper came out where it says, hey, it's starting in a week, right? That's the issue.
Yeah.
That's what people were up in arms about.
So I have 2 boards that was created on July 22nd. So reach out to me about these boards once you get these. Councilperson Winters, the floor is yours.
I was just thanking everyone for sticking around. Thank you, everyone. You were awesome tonight.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. I do have a second.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none. The special council meeting for Tuesday, August 12th is adjourned at 6:30 p.m. 9:34 p.m. I'm reading.